It's dark outside. Do you know what that means? That means y'all didn't set your clocks ahead. What's wrong with you? No, seriously though. It is now top of the 7:35 p.m. on a Sunday night, and that means that disco is out. But is the thing that created disco out? Is it the yin or is it the yang? Find out coming up next on the HEBRO network. Shifty Sunday starts now. Hey, everybody, welcome to Shifty Sunday. I'm your host with the most. I like to put some jelly beans and melt them down on my toast. Hebro77 here. And my co host will be here momentarily. But we're going to have one heck of a show here for you tonight. And whether you like it or not, the show has already started. Yeah, we have started on time and on the dime, because this is how I roll now. I start the show on time now. I'm sure I surprised everybody when I started the show on time. And now you don't have to check that FM dial. You are watching Shifty Sunday. It is 7:37 p.m. on a Sunday night. And we're going to get the party rolling, baby. Just waiting for Saji to make it. I'm sure he was busy sending memes and all that good stuff, and pictures of memes and pictures on pictures. And so now let's just sit back and relax. I see we got Michael Fontaine. It's the only one that's talked so far. So for those of you that didn't click the community tab, and for those of you that didn't spring your clocks ahead, no, we're not going to be talking about moon plasma tonight. I think we're done with the moon plasma talk. Although the moon is out right now. I think is it a full moon? Hold on, let me open my door and take a look. Let me take a sip of tea. That is good tea. All right, let me go take a look at my door right now. It's nice out there, by the way. Really nice. Oh, I don't see the moon. It's too cloudy. It is too cloudy. All right, then. Okay, we're just going to sit back and relax and eat some Apple Jacks until Saji shows up. Smoke this here cigarette. But yeah, we're going to be talking about a lot of things tonight, man. There's a lot of things to cover. And I can't think of the guy's name, but I'll mention him when Saji gets in here. I don't know if it was Adam or Alex. It's Alex Rose. I think it was Alex Rose, and he talks about the different phases of the moon and what they mean and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Alex Rose channel. But yeah, he talks about the different phases of the moon, and I think we talked about him briefly when we had our discussion on Blue Moon. And the Blue Moon theory. So, okay, how about a quick story? So I left earlier to go get some cigarettes, and went to the gas station, and some guy was talking about my license plates. And I explained to him how to pronounce the name and everything. And out of nowhere, this dude who I barely even talk to, like he's the gas station clerk guy. I mean, I see him every once in a while when I go get my cigarettes. This dude who I don't know what he thought I was into, but he was like, yeah, man, I tried to get 666 on my license plate and they refused me. And I started laughing because I thought he was joking at first, but I also was laughing because I thought he was trying to be ironic with them. But yeah, he literally thought that he could get 666 on his license plate and they would oblige him. I mean, I know this is the country, the freedom of speech and everything, but hold on a minute. I'm getting Saji's calling me actually. This is weird. Hold on. He probably can't believe I just started the program. But let's see here. I know I sent it to Shifty Sunday. Maybe he wants me to send it again. I don't know. Here. Let me send it again. Know why. So yeah, I sent it earlier. Let's see. I know I did. That's weird. Man, those are a lot of memes. A lot of memes. So we're gonna go over all these memes. What some of those memes we had. Looks like we had that one meme last night or the night before. I can't remember, but whoa. So where did I send the invite first? I must have sent it somewhere else. Did I send it somewhere else? I could have swore I sent it to anyway. So here's Saji. We got Saji here. We'll wait for his microphone to get for his computer to get acclimated. And while we're doing that, so what did I say earlier about the different moon phases? I was talking about what was it? Adam Rose. Yeah, I was talking about Adam Rose and how we've had him. We didn't have him on the show, but we've showed a few videos of his in the past, and he was talking about the different moon phases. Saji, you here?
Yes.
There you are, man.
Yeah, I was doing last minute drop there. May or may not get to those, but I just want them to be in there, so I wouldn't have to do it during the show.
Yeah, so welcome to the show, brother. I had an excellent intro for you and Armor, but Armor didn't make it.
Oh, he'll be here.
Yeah, I know.
You just now put the link out.
No, I put it out like, I don't know.
Well, you might have thought you did, but it wasn't there, my friend.
I was wondering about that. Like, what? Well, I wonder what happened. Where I must have sent it to somewhere else.
Yep, out there into the multiverse.
Let's see here. I know I sent it to Noble SD. Yeah, when I scrolled up, I go, oh man, it's not in there.
That's okay. I'm here now. I'm sure Armor will be joining us shortly. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. You know, I started the show right on time. I wanted to start the show just bang, get in here, you know, and oddly enough, we didn't have that much of an audience built up because I think they were confused too.
Well, you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Hello, Armor.
Wait a minute. Don't say hello to him just yet. Okay, so here's the man with the plan. He is more humble than Brian Gumble. What did you say, Saji? Oh, I was giving him an intro. He's more humble than Barney Gumble, and I had something, but I lost it. But anyways, here's Armor Up. Woo!
Hey guys, I take it we're live. Howdy everybody. Yeah. Hey, Saji.
That was your cue, man.
He's muted now and he's upset and he's just like, I'm done.
Probably because I didn't give him an intro. I had something written down. I lost it. See, I had like I thought I sent the link in Shifty Sunday, but what I did was I sent it to Noble. I don't know how the heck that happened. But anyway, we're all here now, are we not? I guess we're all here.
I guess Sadie's still boycotting, but he's here. He's here in Icon anyway.
In spirit, icon spirit.
His iconography has joined us.
There you go. Yes. So Armor, thanks for joining us tonight, man. I really appreciate it. I know we're gonna share a bunch of interesting stuff tonight.
It's been like a crazy week of live streams, it seems. I think we did, 2 on Suso's channel?
Yes.
And now here. So, yeah, it's been like boom, boom, boom.
So, how's everything going that you're in? What's the weather like?
Oh, well, we got 6 inches of snow yesterday. I got to go drive in it. That was fun at 1 o'clock in the morning till just breaking daylight. So that was a joy. I got to break track on most of the roads I was on because plows and stuff weren't out, being Saturday morning. But yeah, it's I think the high was like, well, the high today was like 20 some. Actually, it's 31 now. So our daytime high is right about now.
Wow.
But it's supposed to warm up tomorrow. Hopefully the snow will be gone. We'll be back to a foot of mud, which I don't know which is better or worse. But always well, always good.
I tell you what, man, it has been ups and downs with the weather. Like one day, it's 25, next day it's 55. It's been crazy like that.
Well,
Like,
it was like 50s to 70s all last week, basically, and then boom, the snow. Like what they call this one, another new one. Oh, a bomb cyclone. That's what this is. We got hit with the bomb cyclone or something like that. I'm like, boy, they just keep making the weather terms up as they go, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Thunder, snow, and where are we?
I know we're in comic book land, I guess. I don't know, man. It's weird. So. It's search. I'll tell you what, I do have something interesting I did want to tell both of you guys, in the audience, of course, if they're listening. But I'll wait for Saji to get his mic back. And
yeah, I'm worried about Saji. We've lost him.
But I tricked everybody, Armor. I started on time with or without you guys. I did. And I think I double tricked them because a lot of people forgot to set their time probably ahead, and that's got everyone thrown off. I know it had me thrown off today. I woke up at what I thought was like, I guess 7 a.m. and it was really 8 a.m. So I don't know. And I stayed up to what I thought was only 1 a.m. and it was 2 a.m. So
yep. Yep, I know what you mean. That time shift always throws you off for a day or two. Does me anyway, but yeah. My dinner was ready right before 8:30. I'm like, oh no. So I dropped you guys a message into Shifty Sunday. I was like, well, I gotta go eat. I'll be there as soon as I'm done. But this show ticked me off. It was 54 the day before. Hey, Nicole Ackerman in the chat. Welcome, 54. Nicole. Actually here live with us. That's awesome.
Yeah, that usually doesn't happen. Usually after show. So what I don't understand. 54. Our show ticked her off?
I think it's a mistype, but yeah, you ticked her off, so thanks a lot. And that's why I had to come back because he's been out of hand. And
oh man, yeah,
it's just been getting too crazy. So
hopefully
this show won't tick you off anymore, Nicole. No, I'm just kidding.
Little wild, yeah. I blame that on Saji though. He's a bad influence.
Well, you can always blame it on me.
Hey, speak of the devil and look who.
Yes.
What do you say there?
Oh, dude. Speaking of the devil, you guys weren't here when I was telling my crazy story, but I'll repeat it since there's more people here now.
All right.
All right, well, real quick, Nicole said she meant snow. Her phone just said yes.
Oh, okay.
Which is sort of what I figured. But go ahead,
Yeah.
do carry on.
Yeah. So I was at the gas station like 20 minutes before I had showtime, and I was getting out to get my cigarettes, and this dude who works there, gas station clerk, you would say, and he's staring at my license plate, and I'm going, what the heck? So I come get out of my car, and he's like, so is that the way it's pronounced? I'm like, oh no, it's pronounced this way, and so we cleared that up. He's talking about the plate, and he's like, yeah, man. And here's a guy I've only had one or two reactions with. Like, I only go in there to buy my cigarettes. I only see him like once or twice or whatnot have you. And he's like, yeah, man, I tried to get the number 666 on my license plate and they refused me. I'm sitting here thinking, huh, I wonder why. Like, I mean, he doesn't know me from anybody, and he's telling me this. Like, well, okay.
Well, they probably refused them because it was already taken.
Yeah, I was
Well,
going to
yeah.
say it was probably
Yeah.
already taken because
Yeah,
they're out there.
but still, like, why would he tell me this? Like, I started laughing. I started laughing at first because I thought he was joking, and then no, he wasn't joking. But then he tried to explain it to me like he was some kind of I forget, PhD in something. I'm sitting here thinking, okay. And he's like, because he was talking about the what's it called, armor? The not the Korean, what's it called? Where they say that the numbers are inverted on a certain kind of Bible, and it's not really 666 at all. It's 999.
The Quran.
Yeah,
Oh, the Quran. Okay.
yeah.
Well, 999, 666. It's all a matter of perspective, right? Remember that
It's
meme where you look two people looking at a 6 and a 9 and
Mm.
Yeah, I just saw that right before the show. I almost chose it, but I was like, nah, it's just too basic. But that's exactly what it is.
But I thought that was a funny little thing that happened to me.
yeah, definitely interesting.
I'm like, why would he think I like? What if I was like I don't know, one of those people, like one of the I mean, it's just so strange. I don't know. It's like, what if I was one of those church people? Like, I mean, I try to follow Jesus and all that stuff, but I'm not a super religious person. But what if
You mean like one of those that stand out there and tell the gay people they're going to hell and repent?
yeah, like that.
Yeah, like the street preachers.
Well, I
Yeah.
can tell you what. I mean, it reminds me of when I first moved down here to Florida and I applied for a job at a call center, and I was on my first day of training. I told the story once before, I think, and we're all doing like saying our name and where we're from and tell us something personal about yourself so we all can kind of, get to know each other or whatever. And the one girl stands up and goes, "My name is so and so. I've lived here my whole life, and I'm a Luciferian. And I'm a proud Luciferian." And everybody just kind of like nodded and cheered for her for being proud enough to say it. And I'm looking around like, really, this is how we roll here in Florida. 'Cause-
Well, Saji, every story begins with crazy Floridian. Or
Right.
So
I just say, growing up in Ohio, that would have never happened in any first day on the job anywhere that I could imagine, except for maybe Hot Topic or something.
yeah, why would it? Why should it? Just goes to tell you. Well, how long ago was that?
No, not that long ago, like 3.5, 4 years ago.
Yeah, that just goes to show you the times we're living in, man. Where people would applaud that. I'm just saying.
I would love to know what she meant by that term. What type of Luciferian?
Yeah, I didn't take the time to interview her, but
You would now, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. I'd
Yeah.
invite her to be a guest on the
He'd have his
show.
notebook out. He'd be like Detective Sadji. All right, ma'am, let's stick with the facts. So you say you're a Luciferian. Now, what exactly does that mean? Are you the baby blood drinking type of Luciferian? Are you more the nature type of Luciferian? Could you please specify the type of Luciferian you are?
Yeah, I mean, does that mean you worship Lucifer and but you don't acknowledge Satan? And does that mean that you actually believe there is a heaven and a hell and or a God?
Yep, yep. Why don't you get back there and is she still work there? Why don't you go see if you could get an interview?
Yeah, I know, right? I seriously doubt she does, and there's no way I'm going back there.
Well, guys, I was talking about the weather, and it got me thinking. And I'll try not to stay too long on this topic, but I'm going to stay long on this topic. We always talk about cloud seeding and weather manipulation, and there was this guy who had a channel back in 2009. I can't think of his name, but have you guys ever heard of Anthony? I'm trying to think. Anthony Redbud, I think his name was. I'm not really 100% sure, but he had a channel, and the channel's long since gone, but so there's no way we could actually look this up. But his theory was basically that not only were they cloud seeding, but the United States government actually, the Apollo 13 mission, or not, I'm sorry, the Apollo 11 mission was actually supposed to be a secret mission. And this is the way he explains why we didn't actually land on the moon as well, is that we were supposed to land a satellite dish up there, which would unleash nanobots. And he talks about how we had nanobot technology back in the 60s, but they were way bigger. And instead of cloud seeding, their job was essentially to seed the entire atmosphere, and it wouldn't just cause like tornadoes or thunderstorms or snow flurries or ice storms or anything like that. It would actually also cause volcanic eruptions and disruptive behavior in the Earth's crust, because what it would do is it would shoot lasers into the ionosphere, and actually the lasers would be the nanobots would surround the entire Earth, like the entire Earth's atmosphere, and it would shoot the lasers down into not just the cloud, like I said, but the entire atmosphere surrounding the Earth. And then something to do with seeding the atmosphere, but the lasers themselves would enter the Earth's crust and cause volcanic eruptions and like earthquakes, like I said. And this was all funded by Bill Gates' dad, supposedly. And this is the theory that he had come up with, and that's why we never actually landed on the moon, because we never actually got the satellite, because the satellite was supposed to be planted on the moon to unleash the nanobots, because the moon is supposed to be the closest thing from the planet Earth to unleash the nanobots and this technology. And I don't know. I mean, this guy at the time was like the 9/11 guy at the time, before the 9/11 guy was the 9/11 guy. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so that's I just found that interesting. I just thought of that because I remember watching that guy's channel years ago.
All right. Well, I mean, take out Bill Gates' dad and insert James Bond villain, and I'm pretty sure I saw that movie. But yeah, it is an interesting observation, and I can see why his channel didn't make it. But
Well,
Yeah, I'm sure his information wasn't allowed to be up there long, but I've never
yeah,
come across him. That's interesting. I mean, I've come across a lot of the different theories on what the chemtrails are all about, but yeah, I don't recall ever hearing about that one. I mean, I remember hearing about nanobots, but never them being part of the cloud seeding. So that's interesting.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, who's to say? I mean, uh, there may be some truth even in that, but I do know they do weather manipulation, and I do know that I don't know if the Apollo 11 missions were related to that. I remember seeing something on the Ancient Aliens um, show about how when on one of the Apollo missions, I'm not sure if it was 11, because apparently in this reality there were like 5 or 6 other times that we landed
Yeah.
on the moon. Um, even though I only remember 1, 2, 3 at the very, very most. And with all that being said, where they did a blackout to the to the televised to the televised version of the mission or whatever, so that they could do some type of um, prayer to not like Masonic prayer or like I don't know something Masonic, some type of Masonic prayer that they were trying to do to pay homage to some like Luciferian god or something like that. I don't even remember the specifics of it, but they actually had a clip of them saying it, and it was just really it was really obscure. It really blew my mind. It just your story reminded me of that story, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Isn't Apollo 11 the one that supposedly had the slingshot around the dark side of the moon? And that's when they lost contact?
Yeah, and it was during that time when they did that ritual
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. All right. And I
Okay,
remember
here's
golfing on the moon also earlier, Greg, and the cool moon dune buggy. Yep.
here's
Don't they have
something
that anymore? You mean there's no more moon dune buggy and they don't golf anymore?
Yeah, I couldn't say for sure. I'd have to go look it up. I remember they still have the buggy, and it looks like something that you wouldn't buy at a junkyard for $50, more or less, like on a
yes.
trip to the moon.
I remember. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a much sturdier remote control truck. So yeah, it's
So what is it you got there, sir?
Well, I looked it up real quick, and there is something to it in a way, in a roundabout way. It's talking about nanotechnology, develop cloud seeding materials for rain enhancement. So
All right. Well, that's at least what they'll admit to anyway, huh?
what they'll admit to, yeah. But in Anthony's video, I think his name's Anthony Rizzo. And in his video, I think he goes on to explain that the rockets that were launched didn't quite make it through the Earth's atmosphere, and that's why they failed to do it. But they did release the nanobots into the atmosphere for the cloud seeding. Is what he said in the video. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. But I'm not sure what this article is because I just looked it up. Do you want me to read a little bit to you?
well, you might as well since you went to the since you looked it up.
Okay.
Let's see what they got to say.
All right, here we go, man. Clouds in the atmosphere contain condensed water mixed with fine particles. The conditions of supersaturation in the atmosphere show that, okay, we know all this though, man. Show that the formation of water droplets happens with
Heterogeneous nucleation.
you could say that again.
Heterogeneous nucleation.
Heterogeneous nucleation. Huh, I can't say it twice.
It sounds good, don't it? I have no clue. At least they're heterogeneous and not homogeneous nucleation. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yes, that's true. Which requires aerosol particles. The aerosol particles that nucleate liquid cloud droplets are known as cloud condensation nuclei, CCN, while particles that simulate The formation of ice crystals are named ice nuclei, IN. Mechanism.
I
Huh?
think though what happened, maybe someone messed up and put in homogeneous nucleations, and that's what's causing all the problems we got now. But carry on. I
There you
digress.
go. It got in the air.
Yeah, I tried looking up Anthony Rizzo, and all I could find was a baseball player for the Chicago Cubs.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
a mechanism of change between water vapor and aerosol particles occurs to produce condensed water state from gas state. Hydroscopic cloud seeding uses particles such as salt crystals, which can absorb water vapor and warm clouds. Hence, the progression of condensation is directly dependent of the hydrophilic or hydrophobic characters of the particles.
I don't know
Nano,
why they got to be hydrophobic.
I know,
Why can't they
right?
just get along?
Nanoparticles play an important role, and they're talking about nanoparticles. Okay, I thought this had to do with nanobots.
Oh, nanobot, nanoparticle, potato.
Play an important role in the water droplet formation and the atmosphere. Water vapor is already largely present, and this water vapor offers the possibility as valuable fresh water source, which can be harvested by using conditions mechanism to change from gaseous state to liquid state. In fact, the ultrafine air, the dispersed particles, i.e., clusters of nanoparticles with the right properties, are the key making this critical transition to occur. We believe that the current practice of rain enhancement has not yet achieved the ideal effectiveness, and there is ample room to modify and improve. All right, there you
What year was this from?
go. Hold on, let me scroll up here. Zoop. Oh man, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, don't tell us. All right.
But I know that during Vietnam, that this was done. Like this was a thing where they would cause rain to happen in order to what was it? In order to hide themselves or to slow down the fighting or something. What was it? I read something somewhere where it was done, and that's why there was so much chemicals. That's where you got Agent Orange from. Okay, so many countries are seeding materials to the atmosphere in order to aid the formation of fog and rain. That's what it was. The fog was going to give them proper cover. This project provides a timely investigation on how we could use advanced nanotechnology. Okay, they are talking about nanotechnology to nano engineer particles with superior wittability. I like how scientific that word is, wittability, and optimum morphology relative to current cloud seeding agents. A modeling approach will be employed to evaluate the enhancement of rainfall by using such novel cloud seeding material. A number of novel CCN materials are purposed in this project, providing fresh information and techniques on rain enhancement practices.
All right. Yeah.
Interesting terminology. Morphology and
Mhm.
novel, like the novel coronavirus.
Yeah. And then go back down there. He wrote what you just read. I wanted to point out one other thing she said, or whatever, whoever wrote it.
Mhm.
They said employed to evaluate enhancement of rainfall by using such novel cloud seeding material, and a number of novel CCN materials are proposed in this project. They're very non-specific. You see, they tell us about the salt crystals, but they don't mention any of the other
Yeah,
materials.
they don't tell you anything about what this stuff is made of other than its nanotechnology, nanoparticles. Nothing about its content. But they're novel. Give them that. Their contents are novel.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's definitely that's the blanket version for the press there. That's not the conspiratorial side of things. And somewhere in the middle lies the truth. I mean, it's not as dark and gloomy as one, as some may make it out to be, and it's not as just plain and simple as this page would like to make us believe that it is. But somewhere in the middle lies the truth, in my opinion.
Design and fabricate. Design and fabricate. Design and fabricate. I'm just reading some of this.
Because
Fabricate.
in all actuality, I mean, I think that it can have a valid purpose, and it can be used for good. Cloud seeding, weather manipulation, blah blah blah. If there's a certain area that is stricken with drought and is at risk of fire, and there's a way they can create more moisture in the atmosphere and cause it to rain there, and
The problem is they
go
usually
ahead.
use it for the exact opposite. They'll cause
Yeah.
droughts. They'll cause.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to get at is that there could be a good purpose for it. So that the technology in and of itself is not evil. It's how it's applied, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
You can really apply that to just about anything, though, really. Oh,
I
Yeah.
was going to
crap.
say
Not my-
that's everything. Yep. You all right? Hebrews
Well,
down.
I guess you were getting too close to the truth, my friend.
Yep. You shouldn't have spread that article.
I know, right? No, I dropped my cigarettes around the edge there, but yeah, you know what? I just thought that would be an interesting thing to open up with, since we were talking about the weather and
You know, the thing.
I had the comments open.
Go, you know the thing.
All right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but on Suso's channel the other night, we watched that footage from Chernobyl
Oh yeah.
of the alien. I've been saving it for Shifty Sunday. We may have viewers over here that missed it over there. Do you guys want to look at that one more time real quick? Because it is kind of
Absolutely.
a hot topic right now.
It is and it is something that we're leading into talking about tonight.
For sure.
And
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to say one thing to you, Saji. Nothing against the rest of the panel or anything like that. You guys all did a brilliant job, and kudos to all of you. But Saji, I got to tell you, man, your stuff was top notch. I really enjoyed it, and I think you were at the top of your game on that panel, and I really enjoyed listening to you. Not that I didn't enjoy listening to anyone else, but I just wanted to say good job, man.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I appreciate-
Saji did awesome over there. Hey, and Suso in the house, and Go Kart Bob.
Oh yeah, we never did a shout out yet.
I appreciate the compliments, guys. But I tell you what, that was one heck of a panel. And for you guys to say I stood out on it, that really does boost my ego. I'll tell you that much. And so calm down, Saji ego. Calm down. You're not all that in a bag of chips. You're just all that, my friend. All right. But Noble SD, I mean, I always enjoy being on a panel with him. I really wish that you could have been there as well. And I really want to thank Suso, who is, I believe, in the chat right now, for allowing me to be on that panel, because, had he not invited me, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. So I'm very thankful and feel blessed to even have been a part of it. So thank you, and thank you, Suso.
Well, I'll tell you, I would have been on it, but honestly, number one, my confidence level when it comes to doing something like that, and you and I talked about this on the phone. You reassured me, and I appreciate that. But I honestly felt like, number one, I didn't have much to bring to the conversation. I thought, you already had the four most brilliant minds on the panel possible. And number two, I got
Okay, that's stretching it a bit, but carry on.
but no, number two, I actually received the message late. Like I woke up, it was already 4 o'clock, and I think 4 o'clock his time is like 4 o'clock, like 5 o'clock, right? 5 or 6. So I actually missed, like I slept through the show basically.
Oh, so you slept through it. However, I did such a great job. Okay, I see what you're doing there. You're gaslighting me. All right.
No. I mean, I watched the after show.
In your dreams, I did an excellent job. Now I
Yeah,
understand.
there you go.
Yeah, in the Mandela Effect family world.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that joke you
Where
you did.
conspiracies are real.
I like the thing you said on the Mandela affected family. What you mean? Not even in my dreams?
Yes. But carry on. I know we still have a show to get through, and we got Suso in here, and Keith's dad, and Go-Kart Bob. I was waiting for your screech, buddy. And Michael Fontaine. Man, that went went silent.
He wonders why you don't get an intro. I mean, geez.
I know.
Let's try it again
Uh,
from the top.
Yeah.
Wait, the top, or me just saying?
Well, no, I was waiting for
With the whole
Armor to
top,
go.
it ain't that far. Just
I guess Armor was waiting on me. So
Okay. Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine. And of course, Euler Greg. Nicole Ackerman, of course, is actually here. She's not an illusion. Eddie Van Kuhn. Am I saying that right? And let's see here.
The real one? Does he have a wrench?
I believe so. Yeah. And that's it. Suso's talking a lot. It's good to see him in here. And that's your guys' shout out for right now. How you like it?
It was superb.
Yep. Excellent day.
Oh, sad you getting all Italian on this now. All right.
At least he didn't go Fonz on you and say Excellent.
Oh. Yeah, good point.
Or Excelsior.
Excelsior.
So Saji.
Yes.
I understand. Okay, so what were you talking about again? I sort of lost track.
The Chernobyl alien footage.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Hangouts.
In Hangouts.
It's one of the most recent things I dropped. It's labeled Chernobyl.
Chernobyl.
It's in that little group of 3 links I dropped right after you dropped the StreamYard link.
Yeah, I see that, but let's see here. UFO community, is that it? No, that can't be it.
It's the one right above that says Chernobyl.
Where does it say Chernobyl? Okay.
It says Chernobyl right at the bottom of the link.
Okay, yeah. I see it now.
I just like to look too to help you out. Yep.
Oh man.
It's
Yeah,
the top, it's the one right below StreamYard link.
I need new glasses, I guess. That's not the only thing I need, but we'll start with glasses.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, brother.
Yeah. Okay, come on now. All right. Should I have the sound on or off, Saji?
It doesn't make a difference either way. There's ominous music, but you won't get a copyright strike for it.
I don't like that ominous music. But it does add to the whole sort of creepiness.
Like I said on the other broadcast, I just assume that's what you hear when you're walking around Chernobyl anyway, right? If not in real life, at least in your mind.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah,
this.
definitely.
I remember this. This is the flying cigar.
Yes.
Oh, I can hear that music almost as though it's next door to me.
And this was supposedly filmed on January 22nd. Just months before this whole Ukraine thing boiled out and Chernobyl became relevant in the news again.
Oh. Oh, I got my TV on. That's what's going on. That's why you guys were hearing the music. I had my other screen on. It almost sort of like has a grainy quality. I mean, like a wood type quality to it more than it looks like metal to me.
Yeah, to me, it almost looks like the thing you connect propane tanks with,
Yeah.
But it definitely looks like it's a piece to a larger, like it's a portion of something larger, like it would fit into something bigger. Like I guess if you wanted to go with the alien route, a mothership it would connect into, or it could get with 4 other ones and form Voltron. You get the idea of what I'm trying to say here?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and look how fast
Yeah,
it takes.
wonder powers activate.
Look how fast it takes off too.
Yeah, that's the wild thing about it. Because it's like barely moving and then gone.
Yeah.
It's almost like and you say this happened right before the quote unquote conflict that's happening now. It's almost like it will be some type of spy device mapping the area and then out of there.
Yeah, and doing some type of system check on.
Recon.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say it's reconning the area before the conflict broke out.
Exactly.
Almost.
Yep. That would be a good assessment, I believe.
It's funny you should say that because when we were on Suso's channel and saw this, I actually pointed out it kind of looks like a probe in a way.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I guess all speculation is, valid at this point.
We'll watch it one more time. Because, I mean, look how slow it's moving. And then here in a second, it's just going to zoop. There. It's gone.
Yeah, and that's a lot of G's in acceleration right there.
Mm-hmm.
It would definitely have to be unmanned or something to that effect to withstand that type of G-force. More of a drone type object, and that would also explain the ability to just sort of hover there.
Now there's
it's still way beyond our speeds.
Yeah, and alien invasion or I do air quotes here. False flag alien invasion is definitely getting a lot of buzz on social media networks right now. I'm seeing lots of memes for it, which I'm going to share a couple with in our and what do you mean meme section today. And then the other thing I'm seeing that may or may not be where the narrative is going next is I saw here recently where they're reporting China has had another COVID-19 outbreak, unprecedented except for the one back in 2019 when we remember us watching footage of people just falling flat in the streets and them claiming to have built hospitals in a matter of days and weeks to accommodate all the cases and things of that nature. Well, they are making claims again that They're building hospitals again in China, and there's a new variant that is sweeping China as we speak.
You know what I find weird about all that China stuff is just like I can remember when all of this first happened, and I remember at first they were saying, "Oh yeah, China has," and I don't want to be spreading false information here, but yeah, China has basically recovered from it. They're almost 100%. Like they were down to, I think, like 75% free from it or something early on, like quite
No,
early
no,
on.
you're right. They did claim that, and what I was reading today was it's really surprising that they even have in this outbreak because China really did do severe lockdowns. I mean,
Mhm.
they had the most extreme lockdown situation. I mean, they literally would board people in their homes to keep them from spreading the thing if they were suspected of having it or whatever. So for that to be the source of the new outbreak is really kind of got everybody befuddled because they have been practicing the most strictest
Yeah,
measures against the spread, and then for it to actually resurge there, it defies all logic and in the sense of what we would consider taking all the
yeah.
precautionary measures.
Almost as though it's a new thing, like almost as though maybe something else got out or happened. I'm just
Or
speculating.
No, or one could make the assumption, or it's a new false flag stage event in order to
Mhm.
prepare us for whatever they're actually going to do. And there really isn't anything there at all, but they have to create the nuance that there is so that we will buy it when it comes.
Could be. And I got to tell you also, we talk about the gas prices and stuff like that, and you and I talked about this on the phone about what their not motivation, what am I trying to look for here? Agenda, what their agenda actually might be, and that's that they're going to keep raising them and raising them and raising them on the agenda of the new Green Deal, and it's going to be to the point where people are going to have to buy all electric cars, and what they're going to do is they're going to drop the prices on the electric cars and make them more affordable in the hopes that people will buy more and more electric car and will get totally on electric cars because of the high gas prices.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. But I see it kind of happening more this way. They may subsidize to some degree. Remember when Obama had that thing for the emissions where, like, if you bring in your old
Mhm.
car, they'll give you so much for towards a new car during the Obama administration. I don't know if you guys remember that,
Mm.
but
Yeah, but return your clunker or something like that. Cash for your clunker or something it was called.
yeah, exactly. I think they may do something along those lines, but you also got to keep in mind that a new Tesla starts out at around 40 grand, and that's with no bells or whistles on it. If you want to have, just basic, anything above the basic package, you're looking at least 60 to 80 grand for a brand new Tesla out the box. And the average American citizen with a 9 to 5 job just can't afford that. So what they're essentially going to I think what they're essentially looking to do is phase out everybody having a car, unless you are a corporate executive or make over $100,000 a year. You probably won't own your own personal vehicle. You'll just use public transportation.
And for some reason, and I know what the reason is, of course, but of course, Biden's not taking the blame for any of it. He's pushing the blame onto Russia, which I find interesting. Like, is he trying to start something with Russia, and that's why he's pushing the blame on them? I know he's cut off oil supplies from Russia, but um,
Well,
still,
he's definitely trying to. He's trying to. He is poking the stick at Russia about as much
yeah.
as you can poke the stick at somebody and not get hit in the head for it. Um, but what his real ulterior motives are, I have no idea.
Well,
Except for to ruin to basically ruin everything. It seems like he's out to ruin our country, is what it seems like to me. And I'm trying to not be politically biased here. I just can't see any other logical explanation.
Yeah.
First of all, they can't bring the electric cars in like that because the infrastructure ain't even near ready for it. I mean, where I live at, what the heck would I do in an electric car?
Mhm.
You know, there ain't nowhere around here to charge no electric car. You see what I'm saying? You'd have to pretty much convert every gas station, or at least one in every town, to some type of electric charging area.
Yeah, like one
The
out
main
of every
reason the gas prices are up is because the idiots shut down all oil production in our country.
Mm-hmm.
So the gas prices were doomed to go up. Plus, they give us all the free money, which instant inflation. I mean, it's easy to see why we're in the mess. Now, what's their bigger plan? Who knows? But that's why we're here. They give you free money, so that immediately means the cost of living is going to go up so they can get their free money back with lots of extra. That was a given, and that was started by Mr. Trump. Don't forget, he's the first one to give us free money.
Oh yeah, and then the thing that really kills me is the propaganda spin they put on it. Like if you tune into CNN right now, you'll see commentators on there saying, "Well, I don't mind paying a little bit extra. It's the patriotic thing to do if this is what it takes to stop them darn Russians from invading the Ukraine." And but I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's since when is somebody really wanting to pay more than they can afford for gas? Your average person barely living paycheck to paycheck can afford the gases at the rate that they were previously. It's almost as if they're trying to eliminate the middle class altogether.
Well, yeah, they're trying to definitely destroy the economy and eliminate the middle class like they always have been. I mean, my job alone, yes, it's horrible. I have a delivery route. It's like all but 70 miles 5 days a week and 140 some miles 2 days a week. And I got to pay for my own gas and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's not fun and it ain't easy on the average person.
No, and imagine this, if you will, if all the people who are currently making, somewhere around $50,000 a year or less, okay, all of a sudden no longer has a job, A, because the job has been phased out as non-essential, or B, can't get to the job because it doesn't know it no longer they can no longer afford the gas money and or have a vehicle that will take them there, or C, the job itself has been phased out because it couldn't stay in business because it was a small to middle-sized business that got phased out by the economic impacts of all of this as well. So then what do you have? You have a much larger sect of homeless people, a much larger sect of people who are dependent on the government, and a much larger sect of people that you can manipulate and control because they have no sense of independence. Then you can poke them and jab them and farm them and manipulate them and get them to vote for more government programs, and keep the people who want to be in power in power. Honestly, believe it may just boil down to just simple math in that regard. But I mean, I sound like such a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist when I say it, but when I see this much writing on the wall, I can't help but want to call it hieroglyphics. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. And that's exactly what I say in Oiler, Greg. Great point. The power grid would never sustain electric cars. Absolutely. I mean, even in the summertime when everyone's kicking their air conditioners on, you have grid failures in different spots. So that's just from air conditioners. The whole infrastructure would have to be totally redone to even think about powering enough electric cars for people.
Yeah, and if you're actually wanting to power up an electric car, I saw today where Biden was asking people in California not to power up over the weekend. Their electric cars. Why? Because it was draining the electrical grid. It was going to cause maybe a rolling blackout in California because electricity, it doesn't come from green energy. It comes from coal that was dug out of the ground. That is a fossil fuel, just like oil is. I mean, a natural resource is a natural resource is a natural resource, whether it's powering an electric car or gasoline engine, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I have actually a clip here of them interviewing. These are guys that were all set to be hired on his the oil pipeline that Biden ended up shutting down his first day in office, and we're
Yeah,
just
I mean, how obvious is it when it's the very first thing that he does, the
yeah,
very first executive
very
order
first
that he
thing.
signs?
Yeah. So I have a clip here. I hope YouTube allows it. They should. It's on this other channel. So, do you guys mind?
No,
No, go right ahead.
shout out the other channel though. Give them kudos.
Oh wait. I don't think it is another channel. Oh, it's Fox News. Oh, yeah. YouTube may or may not allow this. I don't care.
If you just play a clip and we're discussing it, you should be okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're all here.
This is for whatever you call it, the copyright thingy. Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, free. What do they call it? Free, fair use. Fair use.
Yeah, that's the word, fair use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ticket. All right, here we go. Oh, where's my sound? Oh, I have no sound. Oh. Okay, hold on, guys.
Well, you could read it, do voiceover, then you definitely wouldn't get a copyright. Drill on that ground there may not even be oil. Do like that.
Let's see.
Yep.
Sound. There we go. Okay, this should do it. Okay, you guys still with me? Okay,
Yep.
we have sound now.
Because they can't run a pipeline.
Okay, here we go. Oh, there's
Comments aren't the problem here. What would you say to Jen Psaki?
She's lying to the American people.
hold on. Let me get the beginning of that.
Price of gas down right now. If we want to drop the price of gas, what do we need to do right now?
Put us to work right now. Put us to work. And you will see not only the fuel prices go down, but you will see the price of everything else go down with it.
These gas prices affect everything on the market
Everything.
because of transportation.
Yeah. Everything has to be transported.
He's blocking the probably the biggest contributor to energy in the United States right now. He's pushing for solar and wind power, but it's been proven over and over that's just not as efficient as burning natural gas, refining crude.
Get out of all the politics. You know, we're sick of hearing, this is Putin's price hike.
Jen Psaki was at the podium. She said there's 9,000 permits that's already been granted. She said if people want to pump, companies want to pump, they can go ahead and do it. That these permits aren't the problem here. What would you say to Jen Psaki?
She's lying to the American people. Those 9,000 permits that were pulled, they might not even have oil under the ground that they got the permit for. So why would the oil company go and drill on that ground? There may not even be oil there, and let alone waste their damn money because they can't run a pipeline to transport the oil and gas off the well.
If there was oil,
So there you go. You guys want to talk anything about that?
No, I mean they pretty much summed it up. I mean, I can't see how nobody realized when the very first thing that he did was shut down that Keystone pipeline. They had already started the construction on it. It was basically created to keep the United States independent from other countries in case some type of world conflict was to occur, so that we wouldn't have to rely on Russia or Saudi Arabia our oil or our gas needs. And also, I mean, when you're trying to do some type of military operation and you can't get fuel to your military vehicles, then how are you going to even operate them? None of it made any sense. It was basically him being under the pressure of the whole climate change thing to propose that Green New Deal or whatever. He that is the main reason why he did it, and on top of all of that, just to reverse something that Trump had done, so that he could get a big golf clap from all the anti-Trumpers out there that voted for him. So I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. And you know what? It's you say all of that, and you go and you was to go approach him right now and say, all right, so maybe you did misunderstand. Maybe you did mess up. Maybe you were under too much pressure. But guess what? The gas prices are skyrocketing. The economy is failing. Why don't you go ahead and reverse the executive order and correct the mistake? And he'll say, oh, no. He has no intention of correcting it, despite the fact that he could actually reverse the order at any given moment, like these guys are saying, put them back to work, resume the construction, and you would start to see a swing in the opposite direction. But he refuses to do even that. That should tell you right there exactly what the agenda is. It's not to improve the situation. It's to continue to make it worse.
And I have a clip after this of him saying, a reporter asking him if he is in fact responsible, or if the gas prices are going to go down. When I hear his reaction, it just makes me cringe. So I want our audience to cringe as well.
Well, that's why we're here.
Yeah. So here's the rest of basically what they're saying.
Well, the gas companies would already be drilling it, and they would already be producing it. And it's a lie.
They also said that the president or no one in his administration have reached out to those pipeline workers. Kind of sad. Joining me now on set is Neil Crabtree.
Okay, so let me go ahead and let's see here. I think that thing I was talking about is in this same video. Yeah, right there. Let me go ahead and get it right there. Let's see. Right about there. Okay, let's go.
Right now, Russia's responsible.
Passing the buck. I mean,
Russia's responsible.
Yeah. That right there just I couldn't understand. I couldn't just listen to him them asking what's gonna
Putin's fault. Damn Putin.
Yeah. And then him saying they're gonna go up. That tells you right there he has no.
Well, you got to admit that's the most truthful thing I think he's ever said since being president. Give him that.
Yeah, got to give him that. But it's just like Sadji said, he has no intention whatsoever of even trying to do anything, because that would interject with his agenda. That not his, but the entire.
And he's got a scapegoat that the people who blindly follow him will believe.
And if you remember this whole thing, like if you remember way back when, a long time ago, they were putting stickers on the gas pumps long before any of this Russian stuff even started. They would put stickers on the gas pump before they were even mildly even that high, when they were just $2 and something, nearly $3 and something. Say with a Biden sticker saying I'm to blame for this. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah, we got them stickers around here.
Yeah. So this was
Actually, there's two new ones also that go with that.
Is there?
There's one with, I think it's Nancy Pelosi and probably who's the vice president lady, the Camilla lady or whatever, I think. And the one says, and I helped. And the other one says, I'm just a dumbass or something. I forget,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's 3 of those stickers now.
But I mean, this is way before the whole Ukraine thing. He cannot sit there and blame Russia for that. I mean, that was all his doing. And
Oh yeah, but if they keep telling us the same lie over and over again, people will start to believe it.
people already believe it. I mean, you would not believe, like when he first did that executive order thing and the gas prices started going up and the cost of living started going up. And then you would say, oh, well, thanks a lot, Biden, or something like that next to a Biden supporter. They would be like, oh, it's not Biden's fault. This is just this, or it's just that. It's like, dude, the first thing the dude did was shut down the pipeline. And they're like, oh, that has nothing to do with the price of gas or something. I mean, the logic, there was just no they would defend this dude to the death for whatever reason, and I don't know what reason behind it. It's like they're just so brainwashed.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I mean, they're so stuck on protecting their political ideology that they're willing to watch the house burn instead of admit that it might have a fallacy in it.
Well, that is the height of narcissism. You can never admit you're wrong. Not a true narcissist. It's always someone else's fault.
Ain't that the truth?
And don't you love the fact that we got approximately just under 3 more years of him holding the self-destruct button?
Man, forget the self-destruct button. I cringe over the fact that we have 3 more years. Thanks for reminding me, Saji.
Oh, anytime. That's what I'm here for.
I need a drink. But no, seriously, I just wanted to share that before we got to the aliens thing, because, well, number one, I did promise we would discuss it somewhat, and number two, it's been sitting on my plate for a little bit now, just a little bit, maybe for a little while.
Well, also keep in mind that the current president of the Ukraine, I mentioned this on a previous show, that he was a well-renowned actor in the Ukraine before he became president, and back during the 2014 or 16, I'm sorry, 14 election. I'm pretty sure it was 14 when he got elected, but I'm not sure. It might be 16. Either way, when he was elected president, we had deep state individuals over there doing a coup d'etat, making sure that he was implanted as the president. The old president that used to run the country got put in jail, and all the people that used to support the old president were rounded up and put in jail, and or have never been heard from since. If you catch my drift here, they basically and tell me Biden wouldn't love to do the exact same thing here, put President Trump in jail and any of his supporters to never be heard from again. I mean, that's exactly what that's exactly what took place there, and I think the writing is on the wall for it to eventually take place here if they can some way figure out a way to do away with that drastic constitution thing that we have.
Yeah, that pesty constitution thing that we have, just the thing that we're supposed to, the thing.
But Cole, you know the thing.
Exactly. And I say all of this to remind everybody that what you're seeing here take place on your television as far as the Ukraine is involved, it's a big theater of war. It's a big drama for your mind. It's what you're seeing is not what's really happening. You're seeing the things that they want you to see, and you're hearing the message and the propaganda that they want you to hear. Biden even put out a press statement the other day calling on all the major TikTok influencers to come to the White House for a special meeting in order to get all the TikTok influencers on the same page on how we're going to give out information in regards to Ukraine. If that doesn't tell you that they're wanting to manipulate and control the message, I don't know what will. Saturday Night Live even did a skit on all the TikTok influencers coming in there. Believe it or not, on how funny that would, how funny they did a skit on making fun of what that would be like with
Oh,
all
yeah.
of them showing up. Which is surprising for me that they were even willing to do that, because Saturday Night Live usually toes the mainstream narrative for them.
Man, okay. So I don't mean to like change the subject or anything, but Keith's dad said that everybody that has said the word Russia in the chat now, YouTube's holding the word Russia over for review. So now is that going to be a thing that we can't talk about now? We can't talk about Russia or Ukraine.
Well, as long as
Maybe.
you're saying Russia's bad, Ukraine good, you should be all right. As long as you
Yeah.
go with the narrative, Putin bad man,
Oh, okay.
Putin devil.
Yeah, they've already told the UN officials that in regards to Ukraine, they're not allowed to use the word war or invasion.
I see. Jeez. Oh, what happened? Like Armor said before, what world are we living in?
I
Saji.
like to call it Bizarro World.
Bizarro world. Yeah, no kidding, man. Well, hey, speaking of invasion, I believe we're talking about alien invasions today.
Well, again, it's definitely one of the top contenders for the next thing, and the next thing that they're going to try to the spring on us. The thing is, the question really remains: is it going to be actual disclosure of the fact that we have made first contact, or is it going to be a fake false flag event where they pretend like we've made contact in order to get everybody, to fall in line, so to speak? And I have an article that discusses just that if you guys want to look at it.
Sure.
It would be the one right underneath Chernobyl, my friend.
Chernobyl. Yep.
The one you were going to click on before.
Computer's working slow. Okay, there it is. Whoa, a green lady. Captain Kirk would like her. Dang it. Get off of my screen. Is this going to be one of those reports where I got to click off all of the ads? I got to click off my ad blocker.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me.
Hard to,
Eddie
yeah, it's
Von
hard to
Kuhn
find.
just said it's hilarious. Russian blues are banned from the cat shows. And that's not a joke. That's true. That's how insane this is getting.
Oh, my God.
They've banned the poor kitties. Like the cats. It's just, I just can't.
Man, this looks like something out of an X-Men comic book. What are we looking at here, Saji?
Well, let's see here at the top. We have well, no, scroll down a little bit. I don't see anything yet except the green lady.
Yep.
All right. Tales of the Underground. ET bases and exotic species of aliens can't replace real UFO research. This is posted on March 8th, 2022. So it's not that, it's a recent article.
All right.
Front image is an artist's concept of the so-called reptilian alien.
We already have those. I mean,
well, in case you hadn't seen one before, there you go.
Okay, well, we usually don't see them in that form. They're usually in human flesh. So just saying.
Right. Well, last night, as I often do, I listened to popular UFO radio podcasts, which will remain unnamed, that had a guest talking about a quest to find elusive underground alien bases in the Mojave Desert. And the person who claimed they could lead them to these extraterrestrial subterranean hiding places. The day before that, I tuned to the latest YouTube episode of a well-known and celebrated in some quarters UFO investigator who proceeded to outline various races of extraterrestrials and their home stars for all to see, as though they were reading from the real geography book of the universe. The problem with both of these presentations is that they had no real proof to back up their fantastical, game-changing so-called discoveries. Sound familiar? Well, actually, it kind of does. Many followers and true believers, perhaps the UFO community has always been this way, or perhaps it's even more anchored in the unreal world of wild sci-fi like unsubstantiated beliefs than it has ever been. I don't really know. But it seems to me that only about 5% of those interested in pursuing this phenomena really have the ability or the desire to focus, investigate, and disseminate the little real evidence available on this arcane subject. The other 95%, or vast majority of the so-called UFO community, have become those who only respond and seek the most sensational, unproven speculations of a cater of gurus who help create the fantasies they seek and thrive on. I totally agree with them so far. How about you guys?
Yep. So far, so good.
All right. Can you get a little scroll action? All right. Few real researchers, the above observations that should be plain to any unbiased observer of the UFO community make no friends. In fact, it marks me as a persona non grata in this niche, but that's okay because I am not in this to become popular. Because I believe there are those in the 5% who are still interested in pursuing real investigations by examining the meager evidence of the few UFO cases that defy earthly explanations. I have linked the following articles I have written over the years on my own quest for the truth. All right. So there you go with some of the links to the other things. But what I'm trying to get at, the whole purpose of me sharing this information is even the people who are, have been doing the UFO thing for years, they're not even buying the fact that it's going to be a real disclosure or there's any real evidence of anything about to happen. However, I do think that it is something they're keeping in their back pocket. And had the COVID thing not already happened and had the Ukraine thing not be taking place now, I think they would have already played the card and they got it prepped and ready for when it's needed.
Interesting. Definitely interesting stuff to think about. Yeah.
I think they might be holding off on it too, also, because I think they've had the card in their pocket for a long time, ever since Reagan said about, what would we do if UFOs all of a sudden were real? So I think they've had the card in their pocket. I think they ain't using it because it's their final ace card. I mean, there's no coming back from it. Once they play that card, they've got to go all the way.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the other thing worth noting is I remember about 1.5 years, 2 years ago on an episode of Shifty Sunday, we did an episode talking about how the Pentagon was finally going to do a full disclosure of the of their interactions, and then they walked it back and said, no, we decided we're not going to do that at this time.
Yeah, I remember that episode, and they even showed, was that the same episode where we saw like UFOs floating across a sonar screen?
Yeah, that's when they released the whole Nimitz thing with the Navy. Yeah, they released some of that footage.
I meant radar. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Go ahead.
No, that's when they released that Nimitz footage that we watched. Yeah.
Yeah, that was some good stuff.
Of them having interactions in a real grainy black and white video that you could barely make sense of.
Yeah, what is up with that? Like everything you ever see that you think is going to be proof is always super grainy or super blurry.
And you know that the military cameras have much higher definition than what they gave to the public.
Yeah, and they like some toothless chuck wagon in the backwoods filming Bigfoot. I mean, we're talking about the U.S. military here.
Exactly. But then, just for fun, I also included a third article there about cats being aliens. If you guys want to look at it and jest.
Look at what?
A funny thing where somebody makes the claim that cats are aliens.
Oh, yeah. Cats are aliens. I see.
I think it'd be a perfect way to end the segment.
I'll tell you, man, I've always thought that insects were aliens. But I digress. We'll get into this instead. Let's see here. Where the heck? Okay.
All right. Yeah, when you see something called the Strangler, you know, you're getting legitimate news. But All Cats Are Aliens by Charles Madu, dated March 7th at 4:20 p.m. I wonder what he was doing at 4:20 p.m.
Ah, yes, there you go. That explains everything. Carry on.
Got very creative. Yeah.
All right. The scene at the heart of the Nagaya Choi Lamb sci-fi horror
It
film.
sounds like some Chinese food that I ordered a while back. But,
Yeah.
Also, the whole cat thing and Chinese food. Never mind. I digress. Go ahead, Saji.
All right. The cat, also called the 1,000 Years Cat, takes the old war between cats and dogs, the premier pets in the West, to a level that has no match in all of cinema. You have to see it to believe it. It happens at night in a car graveyard. The cat, named the General, attacks the dog, Lepu. The dog, which is hired to track down aliens, attacks the cat. The cat turns on the window wipers on a dead car. The window wipers hit the barking dog's baggy and slobbery face, and so on for a good 5 minutes. The cat is an alien, or the form an alien takes, and other aliens appear as a young woman and a middle-aged man. They come from a faraway star that's under the influence of evil aliens. The cat, woman, and man are stranded on Earth. The young woman flies. Indeed, one of the most beautiful scenes in the cat captures the woman flying above Hong Kong. She lands on TV antennas with the lightness of an angel. The sky is starless. The music is otherworldly. The cat watches her with a look that all cat owners can easily recognize. It seems transfixed, absorbed, fascinated, but the spell can easily be broken by a hind legs call for licking. This snap from all of you to all of me is so alien to humans.
I got a question.
All right.
Just one question. What is this guy smoking, and where can I get some?
Well, apparently there's a movie called The Cat, a 1992 trailer is down there. I think we'll skip the trailer, but scroll on down.
That might be free. Okay.
All right. And I think this is the key to the movie.
Whoops.
Which is nonstop weird. Cats are downright weird. The human form aliens, the girl and the middle-aged man who is their protector, can only be normal. Nothing they do really surprises us. Even the young woman's flight through the night still looks all too human. But the movie's cats convincingly alien because, in a sense, all Earth cats are pretty alien. Their fascination with boxes, their obsession with Christmas trees, the way they can never miss a spot that will give them the most comfort, a brand new cushion, a fresh pile of clothes, the hood of a recently parked car, the way they stare out of the window, the way they lose interest as fast as they gain it, the way they suddenly stop walking and dart at a look this way or that way, the way they can does that say fuck? with small rodents they've captured. The cat kills the thing only slowly. Not too long ago, I watched my cat play with a mouse that mortally wounded She did it for what seemed like hours. The mouse complained, squeaked, and complained, squeaked. Let me just die. Just kill me, please. Just get it over and done with. I never liked this life anyway, living in fear all of the time. Humans and their traps. I've had enough. Give me the big sleep now. My cat would act as if it had lost interest in the poor creature. Look at something else. The leaves of a wind-blown tree, a passing cyclist, the moon, which was full at night, in the hope that the mouse would try to make an escape, but the mouse was too finished to play the cruel game. It just wanted to die. My cat wanted to dominate what remained of its life, little life. She's from another star. So, what do you guys think? You think there's any chance that cats are aliens?
I think there's 100% chance that he was doing what we thought at 420.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you guys might be onto something.
But
So yeah, but I wasn't taking this article seriously. I just thought it would be fun to, not so much the part about the mouse dying slow, horrible death, because I wouldn't even wish that death for a mouse, to be honest with you.
But that's so
But
true, though, isn't it? Cats
yeah,
definitely are torturous, evil that way. Yeah. They love to
mhm,
torture their prey.
yes, and I'm not sure why. There is no remorse.
Oh, perhaps they have an animal form of adrenochrome. Just saying.
Right?
could be. But I always thought, and here's the thought I just came to me here recently as you're reading the article, maybe cockroaches are aliens that were sent from an alien planet here to Earth to absorb us and to sort of slowly take over. And here's the reason why I think that. Cockroaches are immune to almost everything. They're immune to nuclear blast, and they're the longest. I mean, they could survive just about anything, including a nuclear blast. So, what is the best thing that an alien race could send here? And they multiply by the millions. So, what's the best thing they could send here to Earth to terrorize us and to deliver diseases upon us and to make us sick and to give us a slow and painful death? Why, cockroaches, of course. So that's my 2 cents on the whole cockroach alien theory.
All right. Well, I mean, I can buy into it just as much as any other theory. And then honestly, if you think about it, if insects were human sized, we would be screwed.
Yeah, just like that movie The Mist, where the main protagonists were sort of insect like race, and they were about as big as well, bigger than humans actually. They were gigantic. So think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, insectoids.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's ever some type of genetic modification that occurs where predatorial insects like ants and wasps and spiders and cockroaches, even for that matter, were to grow unusually large and retain all of their current abilities, we would have a hard time fighting them off. That is for sure.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, they start off small, but we developed killer bees, murder hornets, giant giant spiders. I mean,
There's actually a new giant spider that's raging in New York right now. I saw reports on that. Have you guys seen those reports?
I have.
What? No.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to Google the article. I don't have it handy, but I'm sure it's easy to find giant spiders invading New York or something like that. They're a bright yellow creature, and they're a little bit over 5.5 to 6 inches long.
I have seen that. It actually showed up in my news feed one day, and I ignored it. But I did go to look it up. Let's see. Let's see here. I don't know how long the article is, but here you go. Right there.
Yep, there it is. Giant spider invasion expected along East Coast, scientists predict.
Well, that's great.
Wow, look at that webbing.
Yeah, you want to
That
click
ain't
the
webbing,
video?
is it?
Yeah. Can you play the video?
I sure can. Yeah, that's webbing.
All right, let's scroll down and look at the article. Oh no, it's still playing. My bad.
Hold on. Look how tall that webbing is. Wow. That's covering landmass.
Yeah, imagine waking up on a camping trip and your entire family has been cocooned or webified.
Yeah. That'd be crazy. Man, how long is this? 3 minutes? Man. Okay, I guess we can go to the article now.
Yeah, I was hoping to, well, not hope. I'd like to have seen one of the spiders.
Not me.
A lot of webbing, but
Yeah, they look like a corn spider. If you're familiar with corn spiders, look like armor.
Maybe they'll show it. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Looks like they're just showing the webbing. I don't see any.
No, but they'll probably show an image of the spider somewhere in the article.
Right. Like I'm not. What's that? Just more webbing. Yeah. Okay. Let's.
Yeah, that sound was
it's
getting on my
covering
nerves.
like an acre or more, though. That's crazy.
How do I get out of here? Okay. On to the article, my friends.
All right, I guess I'll read. New York, a spider that can grow the size of the palm of your hand could spread to much of the East Coast, researchers say. The Joro spider, which is native to East Asia, proliferated in Georgia in 2021 after having arrived in 2013. It also spread to South Carolina and is expected to keep moving throughout the Southeast. It's not clear how it made its way to the U.S., but one theory includes it came on a shipping container. Well, yeah, that would make sense. A new study suggests it could spread even farther than that. The Joro appears better suited in colder temperatures than a related species, the golden silk spider, researchers at the University of Georgia said in a paper published last month. All right, let's scroll down and see if there's any images of it.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Imagine having one of those crawling on your back.
Whew, man, I don't want to. How about that?
And how big is that thing?
Approximately the size of the palm of your hand. If you go from the very front of its reach to the very back of its hind leg, it's like 6.5, 7 inches at the largest.
So the Jaro spider has about the double metabolism and a 77% higher heart rate and could survive brief freeze that kills off its relatives, the study found.
Oh.
Wow.
But we get worse than brief freezes around here, so
yeah,
he ain't gonna make it.
No, but he is quite the colorful thing. I'll give him that. No, you won't get special spider powers if he bites you.
Okay, that's quite the spider, I'll tell you.
Yeah, just be on the lookout.
I would not want to wake up one day and see all that spider webbing in my backyard. I'll just say that much.
Yeah, I'm kind of freaked out by spiders. I'm more freaked out by spiders than I am snakes, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, snakes don't bother me too much.
No.
Spiders? Nah, I don't like them.
Well, the thing about snakes is, like, snakes are big. You can see them a little bit better. Even when they're hidden and stuff, like underneath rocks and stuff, you can kind of see them. But spiders, man, spiders, like you get like a brown recluse or something like a black widow or something. Those damn things can hide in your boots. They can hide in the crevice as small as my pinky. I mean, you never know. You could be reaching back in the back of your entertainment center to unplug something and get a bite in your hand, and 3 or 4 days later, you're dead. So yeah, I don't like them.
Right. Well, what do you guys want to cover next? Do you guys ready for some memes?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Are we ready for some memes?
Well, what do you mean? What do I mean? Am I ready for some memes?
Well, I did
Hebrew.
promise memes in the intro, so
All right. Well, I brought some. I will fulfill your promise.
cool. All right, let's get to the what do you mean memes of today. And then I think we got one more major subject we're going to cover?
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Cool. So let's get to these. Now, I think one of these memes I've seen already on another show.
Oh yeah. Or I sometimes I share early and then
Yeah.
so you might have even seen it from me pre-sharing it, but either way, there are some pretty good ones this week.
Let's see here. Where's the beginning? Oh, here's the beginning. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, boy. I get it. This first one kind of ties in with well, we talked about the narrative. First there was COVID, and then the gas prices, and then Russia, now this.
Oh yeah. We're up next. I'm nervous.
Yes. So there's that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I thought so as well. This one I didn't totally get, but I thought maybe somebody else might. Companies ban streaming services in Russia. Russia legalizes piracy. Oh yeah, I do get it. They're
Yeah.
using the dogs as the clouds as the. Yeah. All right. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, that one's all right. That's sort of funny. They
Yeah.
legalized piracy, so you could just, yep. I don't get the dogs part though.
Yeah, that's one of those things like the guy sitting at the table. It's something that's a reoccurring theme in Memeville. All right, so here you have people protesting Putin seem to forget the deep state, stage a coup d'etat in Ukraine, like I was mentioning before. This was back when they were there actually implementing the new regime. You could see your buddy Mr. McCain there on the left, and I'm not sure who the guy is on the right, but I recognize him.
Oh, that's Kentucky. What's his
The
name?
one senator guy, ain't he a senator, I think, or something?
Yeah. But this was back in 2014 or 16, whichever the case may be. And I'm sure the lady in the yellow jacket is a key player in the deep state as well. I'm just not sure what her name is.
She's married to the man in the yellow hat.
Oh, okay.
The Graham guy. My wife says that is that the Graham guy, something Graham or something.
Oh yeah, Graham. All right, let's move on.
Yep, the next meme kind of coincides with this one. If the guy on the right triggers you, but these criminals on the left don't, congratulations, You have been successfully mind controlled by the TV media and Hollywood.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right, let's keep it moving. The magic of memes, of
See,
getting a point across.
This one here, I think we shared on another show somehow.
No, I showed this. I sent it to your phone earlier when we were talking.
Did you? Oh, okay. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, it's narrative versus reality. In the narrative, you're going to see a close-up image of just a bear intimidating Ukraine. There, you see. Pray for Ukraine, the big bear. But in reality, you got Ukraine poking a stick at the bear, the U.S., NATO, and Britain all standing by, encouraging him to do so.
And don't miss the fact that the bear's just protecting her cubs.
Mm-hmm.
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 What's this one?
All right, let's see. This one, when you're so woke that you wake up to the realization that being woke is just another illusion to wake up from. And we're using woke in the literal sense of, not the woke in the sense that it's being the one Armor's most familiar with.
The good woke, not the bad woke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which kind of happened to me over the weekend listening to that whole plasma apocalypse thing.
Lindsey Graham, that's who that was. Keith's dad says, yeah, yep, he's right, baby. Lindsey Graham.
I like this next one.
This one's my favorite.
Yeah.
Ignore the camera. I'm sorry. You're an idiot.
So far, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite. I laughed so hard when I saw that.
Because you could just, yes, that's dogs to a T.
All right, see what we got here. At no point the spiritual journey finished. At no point does anyone know all there is to know. Knowledge is infinite. Thought that was something worth reminding.
It's very true.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sharing my screen looks like.
Your screen, huh?
Am I sharing the
all I see is the image.
Oh,
okay, all I see is the image and the normal thing.
I got you.
All right, what do we got here? When you thought you were done arguing with your man, but then you heard him mumble something under his breath.
Okay, we might have a tie for first place now because you know he didn't. Cat look is just priceless.
Yes. That's always the case with me. It's like, how do they hear you? Like they always hear you mumbling something. Like I never can get by with that one. No matter how soft I mumble it, it's like, what did you say?
Yeah.
And it's like they know what you said. They're just testing to see if you'll say exactly what you said,
Yeah, if you got the courage to say it at full volume.
Right.
All right. This was just in, the Vatican has invited Chelsea Clinton, Dr. Fauci, New Age figure Deepak Chopra, and the CEOs of Moderna Pfizer to speak at a May conference focusing on health and the soul. And Ian Hayworth responded, was Satan unavailable?
Yeah.
I think they got him. They pretty much got him right there.
Yeah. All mixed into all of those people. Yep.
His many forms. Yep.
All right, so here we got I'm not sure who the lady is at the top, but she passed the bar. And The lady right below her, she failed the bar. The lady right below her, she worked at the bar. The lady right below her lives at the bar. And the guy at the bottom, he can't spell bar.
That's a good one.
Oh, that face too. What the? Oh.
Well, this is me. I messed up. This was a picture of a lady who was pumping gas back when it was like 25 cents a gallon. But this is me guilty of being Mandela affected and trying to crop the photo so I could see the Coca-Cola sign better to see if it was into the Coca-Cola sign.
That makes it even funnier, man.
Yeah.
That little story behind it. Just you know that you're Mandela affected when you're doing memes and your main focus is something that's Mandela affected.
I'm like, oh man, look at that Coca-Cola sign. I gotta zoom in on that.
Yeah. Good one, Saji.
Yeah. I just noticed there's a slight resemblance here in these two individuals. I just can't make it out what it is.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. This one's one of my favorites as well. Shout out to the adult on the porch who watched this entire scenario unfold and just fucking sat there.
Yeah, I seen this one earlier. This is definitely right up there. It's one of my favorites.
Oh man,
Because it's so true. It's like,
yes,
and who has a boy who hasn't done this?
right.
Yeah, I've even tried to do it with somebody sitting on the handlebars, which ended in complete failure.
Yeah, it never end well, I would say.
In my neighborhood, we not only had the adult just sitting there, but they'd be cheering you on as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
And look at the girl sitting down there. You can see the two of them look like they're actually praying.
Yes. That one there and this one here. Oh, this one's praying too. I didn't see that one. But this one's praying.
Like, oh Lord, let him clear Bobby.
All right, back to gas prices.
Oh.
Before voting for Biden and after voting for Biden.
Yeah, just imagine what bus and taxi fares are going to be. You know, I saw a report that Uber and Uber Eats is actually what do you call it? They brought their prices up. Not too.
They've added a gas fee.
Yes, that's what it was. So yeah, this is hurting everybody, guys. That's the thing. Like, dang, man. Oh,
And I just really like this image, so I wanted to share it with everybody.
yeah.
Focus on me, not the storm.
You know, that applies to life. That's everything in life. Don't focus on what's going wrong in your life. You know, focus on Jesus.
Okay, you ready for this week's synchronicity?
Yeah, go ahead.
This week's Wednesday word already up and ready to go. You can easily go and see. The title is Don't Follow the Signs, Follow Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that's pretty synchronicity.
Definitely. It's almost right on the nose. Cool. Seems to
Cheap plug for Wednesday Word, available Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Armor Up channel.
All right. And for those who don't know, if you go back and you see in the red, 1998, those were the countries that were signed on to NATO. If you look at the 2022 on the right, you'll see these are the ones that are currently, and you can see how the red invasion has slowly worked its way closer and closer to Russia's border there, with those last two countries being Belarus and the Ukraine. So you can see how if that Ukraine thing there was to turn red, how Russia could have NATO right on their border, where currently they're able to not, except for that brief little spot right there above Belarus. And it would take away their ability to get into that Dead Sea or whatever it's called right there, that blue little pond of water, which then essentially takes you down through the southern part of Italy onto the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow.
I thought it was a pretty good visual to get the point across. All right,
Philo Fire in
aliens.
the house. Philo Fire. Just wanted to give a shout out. Go ahead.
Shout out to Philo Fire, or as Hebrew likes to call her, Philo Fire.
Yes. I've been getting
All right.
better at that. I've been getting better.
Aliens watching season 2022 of Earth, while confused how the plot skipped from pandemic to World War III in a single episode.
So true.
That's good.
You know, if there were out there intelligent beings watching us, they'd have to just be scratching their head and being like, I can't believe they keep falling for it.
Oh boy, Saji, this is okay. I'm going to put it up here now. This one.
All right. Yeah, I think this one pretty much speaks for itself. I don't think I need to read it.
This top dog though, this should be the gas pumps, and this should be U.S. Just
yeah,
saying.
okay. And then all right.
I mean, you could pretty much make this into anything, but anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This meme has made its rounds with different labels on it. Trust me.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, looks like you saved the best one. Or
Hey, he ended it with a bang. Oh, wait a minute. Can't say that.
Armor. Oh my goodness.
Hey, I was just throwing you a bone.
Well, that concludes What Do You Mean, Meme?
What do you
For
mean?
this evening?
What do you mean memes? Even Suso.
Hey, I'm not dead, people. What the heck?
Right? I would say that me and Sadger are being bad influences on you, but we haven't even been around each other in a while.
Nope. I'll take full responsibility for my actions.
No, but that was pretty good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the memes, and I was worried I wasn't going to have enough, but it seems like I had more than plenty.
Oh yeah, you had good and plenty. It's a candy joke, people. Come on. Never mind. Yeah. Okay.
That one ended like a goober.
Sure.
Ba-dum-dum.
It was a dud.
It was kind of tacky.
But yeah, moving on. Saji, you have with us tonight 2 videos. I think is it 2 or 3?
Suso's leaving us. He says good night. So night, Suso.
Man.
Thanks
All
for
right.
Good night,
tuning in.
Susan. Well,
Hey, boom, breaking action just popped in though.
where showing up late is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Philo must have been hanging out or something. They both showed up, gave a little time between to throw us off. Uh-huh.
Yep, they were definitely eating all the green M&Ms.
Well, also I threw everybody off with the time.
Oh yeah, that's true. Then there's that. Well, the two original videos we were going to play, Hebrew. We've since came to we found another video that kind of is kind of takes what those two videos were, the information those were covering, and kind of shortens it a little bit to keep it short and sweet and condensed for one show. We're going to look at a totally different video than the one I had mentioned, the ones I had mentioned to you earlier.
Oh, okay. Because I saw.
Yeah, we found the condensed version, so it'll be much easier to go through than trying to go through those other 2 or 4. Well, there was 4 total, but
Okay.
But it covers the same subject matter. It's from the same YouTube channel. The YouTube channel in question is called The Mind Unveiled. If you're unfamiliar with the channel, I will post a link in the chat here in just a few minutes once we start watching the video. But I thought the content matter is very interesting. It kind of explores a little bit of the Tartaria, a little bit of the esoterical, and touches on the origins of Christianity in a way that I had never seen before. And I just thought it would be something interesting to look at and to kind of raise our awareness a little bit of exactly what, you kind of to test your discernment a little bit and improve your knowledge on improve all of our knowledge on things. I took away from it knowing a little bit more than I had previously known, and also just to kind of dissect it and discern for ourselves how much of it is true and how much of it we think actually applies. Armor, you got anything you want to add to that?
no, I'd say roll that beautiful beam footage and we can break it down as we go, pause it as we need to, and talk about it. Yeah, it's another one of those like we've covered on the Suso shows lately, which have been awesome. It's just another thing to make you think. Not saying not saying we totally believe it. We're not pressing it. It's just, another way to think about things. There's a lot I don't agree with, and I'm sure we'll get to it. But there's some stuff I do agree with. So.
And do you have the video? Can you play it, and can you give him the share screen, Hebrew?
Oh,
yeah.
I'll have to find it. Hold on.
The only thing I have is those 2 videos that you put in Shifty Sun or in Sagittarically Speaking.
Okay.
Right, I know what you mean.
Give me 1
All
minute.
right, yeah.
1 minute. I need 1 minute.
All right. All right. It shouldn't take them long to bring it up. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up the link for the channel itself and drop it in the chat while we're talking, but I can stay with you guys while we do that.
Cool. I'm glad you could stay with us while you do that. And,
sure.
I saw some of it. Like I saw like part of the first video that you showed me.
Uh-huh.
And the only thing I have is this kid's voice. He's probably a man, like a full-grown man, but he sounds like he's about 12 years old.
Well, he definitely has that voice that can put you to sleep also. It's like a very soft, quiet. That's why I figured just one video instead of trying to sit through the 4, even though none of them are real long.
Yeah.
It sort of gets sort of droning. Not that it ain't good info, but yeah. All right, let me find the one. He does a lot of like cryptids unveiled for people that's into that. I like those that he does. Talks about Tartaria. He talks about a lot of stuff. It's a cool channel. I've been subbed, I think, since me and Sadji talked about him a while back. All right, here it is.
Ah.
Let me get the video up here.
Hannah Walker just showed up.
All right.
Well, welcome, Hannah Walker.
She's been lurking. She probably ate all the green M&Ms with the rest of them, Sadji.
That's all right. Green M&Ms are overrated.
Yeah, that's why we put them back there. Because I prefer the blue ones myself, but
Yeah, I like all the M&Ms equally. I'm an equal opportunity M&M destroyer.
it looks like Armor's got the
yeah, I won't be able to see chat while I'm sharing because I'll have to be ready to pause if Sadji or me or Hebrew once it paused, so I can't see chat, and you have to let me know when I'm sharing, and I'll start it.
Just give me 1 second. I got to empty this whatchamadoodle. I'll be right back.
Is what you madoodle. Hate it when they get full.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, let's get started with the video. And you know what I didn't realize before is that the host, like if you share a video to me and I share it, I can actually push play on it. I didn't know that.
Oh, cool. You mean like when you give me screen share, you can actually start it?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's handy.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe not on this one. Okay, never mind. Scratch that information and goodbye. It did it, but it did it for me when good old what's his name was in here one time. Oh, look, see, I was able to do that. See?
I can't see what you're doing because I'm on the other screen, but
Oh, yeah. That's weird. It let me do it that one time. Okay. Weird. I could do the full screen layout. That's what I'm. Okay.
see, I came back to StreamYard. See if you can hit it now. Maybe it's because I was still on the screen.
Oh, let's see.
Well, we're experimenting. Might as well experiment.
No, I can just do that. I thought
All right. I'll get back over to that screen.
All right. I could have swore like. Hey, Jennifer Richardson,
Elizalde. Come on.
Oh, yeah. God let you say it. I mean,
I don't even got to see her name, and I know how to say Jennifer's name because it's
yes,
so cool.
you do. Yeah.
All right,
I
are we
try-
ready? Am I sharing? Are we
You
good?
are sharing. Yes, sir.
Yes, you
All right.
are.
All right. Shall I roll the beautiful bean footage?
Roll that beautiful bean footage, Armor.
And
All right,
full
and-
screen, if you can,
Don't-
please.
Don't strike us mind unveiled. We love your work, brother. And I'm going to let his logo run so he gets full credit here. And here we go. And you did drop the link to his chat channel, correct, Saji? Saji.
I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
All right. So there you go. If you like what you see, go subscribe to him. I recommend it. He always has interesting stuff. So here we go.
Is magic evil? I wanted to address some
Just wanted to make sure you got sound. You got sound?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
frequently asked questions or points that are brought up against magic. You have two main groups that consider magic as evil. You have Christians, mostly King James, and I understand there may be Christians who understand white magic, but you have these Christians that view magic as evil or demonic. Then you have this new category of people that is more broad. It's not a group, but a variety of different people who are aware of the cabal and global elite, and they look at them and see that they practice similar philosophies, so the conclusion is that, oh, well, magic must be evil and wrong because the cabal have these same practices. These are the main people who have this perspective that magic is something evil instead of some natural process. The rest of the audience is likely composed of people who have either had a magical experience, someone who's just learning about spirituality and the occult, or someone who doesn't really know about magic. And you might have the atheist that denies that magic even exists. But this video is more focused towards the first two groups. So what's magic?
Hey,
Magic
Armor.
is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the way.
Yes, sir.
Can you make it full screen?
Oh, okay. Hold on. How's that?
All right. Thank you. Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Yeah, just slightly rewind. I want to hear his definition of magic, and he was halfway through it.
All right. Here we go.
is likely composed of people who have either had a magical experience, someone who's just learning about spirituality and the occult, or someone who doesn't really know about magic. And you might have the atheist that denies that magic even exists. But this video is more focused towards the first two groups. So what's magic? Magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. Technically, any goal that you set and then do is a manifestation of your will, hence magic. But the wider picture is that magic is a phenomenon more directed to manifestation done through mind alone, meaning causing change in the physical world through thought. Now, this isn't normal, everyday, habitual thought, but as was said, a science and art of thinking. Another aspect to magic is states of consciousness. The atheist doesn't believe in magic because he's stuck in a very physical state of consciousness. We all experience different states of consciousness on a day-to-day basis, such as dreams and sleeping, but there are different practices that have been developed for over thousands of years. An esoteric system was developed in which, through ritual, changes in the real world could be manifested through mind power or will alone.
Pause
It's
it right
important to
there.
note that magic only works in a God.
Now, that in and of itself right there, I mean, the average person, through thought and will, I mean, have you ever experienced an ability to affect the physical realm through your own thoughts and your own will? Hebrew, Armor?
Me, I would have to say, not really. Not that I could think of. Although I used to mess around when we'd go to concerts and they were predicting rain, and I'd say, no, it's going to be 80 and sunny. Weather's the easiest thing to control, and it would be 80 and sunny. But so I don't know. I guess you could say that was sort of doing that. But yeah, I don't know. Never anything substantial. Put it that
Yeah,
way.
same here. I feel like I've made minor influences, but I don't know so much as if it was but then I don't know so much if I was imagining my ability to do it, or if it was just coincidence that it actually happened the way that I thought it would. In a sense, like when you have like a relationship with like let's say you have a group of friends and you're really hoping to influence them to go on a camping trip, and one of them is really reluctant to go, and you know that there's no way you're really going to be able to talk them into it. So through your thoughts and through my will, through my power of my will and my mind, I think that I'm influencing them, or I think that my body language, or my stance or my take is going to make a difference. Like somehow, some way, I feel like I'm manipulating the situation now, but not through actual verbal requests, like saying, "Hey, come on, get up, let's go to the store," but by creating the happenstance of standing by the door, grabbing my keys, or that sort of thing. I'm using those as really basic examples, but that's kind of like on the, in a sense, is that a really low grade form of magic where I'm creating a circumstance to go in the favor of what I'm trying to influence it to be? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, how loose do you want to use the term magic? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
boils down to, Would you
Right.
consider that magic?
Yeah, again, I don't know. I mean, I didn't feel like I was doing magic at the time, but when I hear that explanation, I kind of feel like it somewhat falls into that category. So I guess it really all just depends on how you perceive it, and like you said, how broad, how much are you willing to broaden the definition? So yeah, that's really it. I feel like I did that. I mean, but then I've always felt like I've had a keen ability to subtly, um, especially when I was younger, I was really awful at it, and almost in the sense of like I feel somewhat guilty. But I've always had a way of kind of manipulating people, manipulating situations to my advantage. Not always for the power of good, you might say, but not necessarily always with nefarious intent either. It just seems like there's some people who are better at it than others. Now, would you
And
quote unquote call it magic? I don't know.
Right. Would that be considered magic or just good, what we call street skills, street smarts, good
Right. Yeah, I guess
social
it
manipulation, you know? But
exactly.
is that a form of magic? Again, how loose do you want to use the term?
Exactly. So yeah, just food for thought. That's all it is. Go ahead and carry on, Armor.
Based universe. The idea is that there's only two cosmologies, that of something, spirit, and that of nothing, materialism. The modern day cosmology is that of materialism, which is the belief in cage of the modern day atheist. In order to practice magic, we have to understand the concept of a hierarchy of spiritual planes, with the top plane being the Godhead or Source. Check out the Astral Plane Explained series if you want more info on these other planes of existence. Now again, there's this idea that because the King James Bible is against magic, or the simple fact that the Cabal themselves use this knowledge, that magic is totally evil and should not be practiced. There's a lot of moving parts to consider, so let's get started. The first point to make is that Christianity is based and was birthed out of what we now call the pagan tradition. Check out the Christian Origin series for more information on this history. Magic is not new, and is the most ancient art form that we have, the science and art of manifesting through will. The first major point to make is to inform on the history of the ancient mystery schools. Magic has an honorable past, and it is the foundation of all religions. It was the philosophy of nobility, and the most advanced thinkers of our ancient past practiced this ancient science and art. It's difficult to summarize, but let's do a quick overview of how the tradition of magic came to be. Now remember, we are in the cosmology of something, or spiritual planes, so this isn't the history that we're taught in school, such as floating rocks in space and evolution. In the cosmology of spiritual planes, we have slowly de-evolved from our original God state into the current physical state we are currently experiencing. The reflection and the creation of base attributes of being, the zodiac, the planetary sephiroths, that are the archetypal forces of our universe, slowly started to mix and flow. You could say their energies trickled down to the lower planes and created the vast variety of different thoughts and ideas. These thoughts then formed into concrete identities. As these identities begin to take life of their own, we begin to see the creation of concrete forms. Fluidity begins to halt as spiritual forces stop shapeshifting in an everlasting cyclic process and begin to create concrete forms with boundaries. This is the moment where you can start separating subject from object. This is the creation of the astral realm. For many aeons, we were beings on this astral realm, and you could say we were very primitive and pagan in our magical ways. There was evil, and there was good. But a philosophical system of spirituality had not been developed yet. This was still a very chaotic period in our magical history. Then came the creation of the material universe. Now this is a controversial subject, as the Gnostics do say that we were trapped in the material realm and all this other stuff, but to quickly comment on that, I think Gnosticism and nihilism got mixed up along the way and created this very negative spiritual outlook on magic. These archons or beings are actually within us. They cannot trap us. They are our chakras. They are the planetary archetypal forces that first began inside of you. They are simply different attributes of yourself, or of your God self. I suspect that Gnosticism came after the Church of Iesa, so that's the next big point to make. Many of us are aware of Atlantis. Atlantis was a civilization that was semi-physical, semi-astral. You might as well say that they were on the astral plane because they were a nation of magicians with magical technology. After the destruction of Atlantis came the Church of Iesa, where we begin to see the beginning of pagan philosophies from Atlantis be turned into the first world religion. Now Atlantis wasn't necessarily pagan, but their system of astrotheology and magic did not yet have philosophical virtues. That's what brought down Atlantis. It's that there were many evil magicians who had taken advantage of the Golden Age. Not everybody who used magic was evil, but the power became unbalanced, and so the next cycle began. Quick note, it seems every time there's a fluctuation of spiritual consciousness or awareness, it's as if this is followed by some event to restart the system, as if this causes some type of collective overload.
All right, pause it
Now,
right there.
after Atlantis, the world needed to be rebuilt.
Now, when I heard that part, that reminded me of what we were discussing yesterday with the whole plasma apocalypse thing, where he
Yeah,
said,
with Jay. Yep.
yeah,
Yep, me too.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and how's the audience hanging so far?
Let's
Any
see.
comments? I can't see the comments. So anything? Any comments going on? Any questions? Anything happening?
Oh, well, let's see here. CJ popped in.
Oh, howdy, CJ. Yeah, I just don't want to miss any questions or points the audience have to make.
Let's see. I had a dream about cleaning gutters one time and then got gutter ads on my phone. Okay, I think they're mostly talking about like the phones spying on them and stuff. Let me see.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, I just didn't want to miss any questions. So
Yeah, I'll remember to check for your armor here as we go along.
all right. Yeah, I just wanted someone to make sure to keep an eye on the chat. All right, let's continue.
And the first notable civilization to do this is the Church of Iessa. Not too much is known about this church because it's been renamed and suppressed by presumably the Jesuit Catholics. This was done during the Roman Wars when they were trying to remove the Druids as a threat. From Connor McDarry, quote, "It was the idea held by the leaders of the Roman Church and state, they were practically one, that all power should be centralized in the head of the church, who was also emperor of the state, and any and all religious institutions which in any way conflicted with this ideal were to be done away with. For this reason, the mystery cults were suppressed and initiation into the ancient or esoteric mysteries were forbidden, so that no religious establishment, worship, or practice would exist which would draw and hold men to it other than the Roman state church. And besides, as the study and preparation necessary for those who were selected for initiation into the higher mysteries was such as to develop a highly philosophic and spiritual state of mind, such study and preparation did not comport with the object which the church rulers had in view. Such minds would not yield adherence to a mere political and idolatrous church whose doctrines were, in the main, intended for the uninstructed multitude. Such minds could not be dominated by a political or mercenary priesthood. They were
Could you
enlightened
pause
men
it
and
right
they stood
there?
in the way of the church project."
Now, if I'm not, I want to make sure I'm understanding this clearly. So, if from what I understand, there is he's trying to say that the secret teachings, or like, for lack of a better word, the Masonic, the Freemasons or whatever, the secret society, they are they went into hiding and were suppressed because of the Romans' dominance on the church itself. They didn't want to lose their Gnostic teachings, and they wanted to be able to have people be a member of that society only if they were unindoctrinable by the Roman influence of trying to manipulate and capture and kind of abolish anything besides what they were teaching. Am I following this so far?
Yeah, basically what we would call Gnostic teachings, although that term's sort of misused a lot nowadays too, but yeah, for lack of better terms, the Gnostic teachings. Basically, he's saying magic was always practiced. It was pretty much what made the Atlanteans. And the first quote unquote religion that actually built buildings, which is what he's showing here, this type of church, these old grand churches, he's saying were Aztec, built by the Isu. I think it's called Isu, right? The Isu followers. They followed someone called Isu.
This is before Christianity existed, correct?
This is the first church ever before any other church or religion existed.
Okay.
Before this, it was pure, just magic practices. I mean, there was no organized religion.
Understood.
This was the first organized religion. And when Rome wanted to take over, he's saying, and wanted to bring their quote unquote Pope, ruler, leader, he wasn't Pope back then, but when Rome wanted to be in charge of church and state like it is now, they had to take these guys out, because these guys would not do that, because they believe in freedom, basically. They don't believe in bowing down to a man and worshiping the way Rome would need them to worship, to be subject. So, yeah. So Rome, he's bringing up that this was the first organized religion, and it was the first quote unquote real. This is what religion was supposed to be, as best it could be in an organized form, and it's been wiped out of our history. No one even knows what it is. It was taken over and turned into Christianity, is what he's going to get at.
All right. Are you with us so far, Hebrew? Do you have anything you want to add or question you might have?
Nah, you're the question, man. I'll let you answer the questions, man.
All right. I just didn't know if maybe you had something you wanted to chime in on. All right. Go ahead, Armor.
Therefore, the institutions which produced such men were to be suppressed. Quote, the Great Pyramid and the group of which it is premier, together with the temples of the Nile Valley, are the most convincing witnesses and testimonials, offering no chance for contradiction or uncertainty as to the accomplishments and genius of the Irish, or, as it is called in history, the Aryan race.
All right, pause.
Quote,
Yeah, I was going to say we should bring up the fact that he ties all this back to Ireland. They were the start of the Aryan race, as it's known, and they were the start of the Isu worship.
And Go-Kart Bob had a question. He wanted to know what year approximately was it 300 AD?
What year? What?
Was that church being built and whatnot?
Oh, I don't remember. Did he say the year? I don't recall.
I didn't see if he said the year either. But good question, Go-Kart Bob. That would be worth knowing.
Yeah, I don't know offhand. We'll have to listen because he's getting up to that, so he may say it, but I don't know. He's talking, though, this was all back in Egyptian times. That's what the pyramids were all about. He says about how the Irish, although they weren't called Irish, you'd have to watch the little series that he mentioned there. The what's that series called? Something Christian.
Yeah. I'll look it up.
Yeah. There's a little 4-part series that we was going to do, but this one sort of summed it up in one video and made it a little bit easier to get through. But it does skip a lot of that kind of stuff. But basically, the Phoenicians, what we would know as Phoenicians, were basically these Irish, just called Phoenicians then. And Irish is actually a derogatory term, which I think he gets into. It's an interesting theory, like I said, and it gets pretty deep. But yeah, basically, he's saying the Irish, which is the Isu worshippers, although they weren't what we think of as the Irish today, sort of.
Yeah, the 4-part series is called Christian Origins.
Yeah, Christian Origins. That's what it is. Yeah, it's just something interesting to check out. But yeah, I forget the exact year he's saying. But it was back in whenever they say the pyramids were built. It would be equivalent to that type of era, right around that time.
in their great missionary pilgrimage, they circled the globe in order to give religion and knowledge of God to the different races of mankind. They also established priesthoods and gave alphabets to the races who were unenlightened in such matters up to this time. Let's just stop there for a second. We're about to connect that with Tartaria and the Church of Iessa and how they traveled across the world and established this first global civilization after the flood. Let's continue. Quote, Ireland is the country in which the arts and sciences were first discovered and developed. To this country, the Greeks applied the term ogia, a term which was never given but to the very ancient, and it is from the Irish Aryans that the Greek traced their descent, from Donnelly's Atlantis, page 458. Quote, it is to the Irish Magi we owe the discovery of fire and the common grains, which they developed from the grasses. They were the first people to practice agriculture. They invented the common tools of workmanship, which have come down to us practically unchanged from those ancient times. There were other civilizations that were creating contributions after the flood. It wasn't just the Church of Iessa. However, they're the first ones to notice because they are responsible for re-educating the entire world after the flood in what we now call the Bible. This may be shocking to some, but hang in there as I try to unveil this information.
And like I say, what he's pointing out here is, like I said, at this time, the Irish would be known as Phoenicians in this list. So the Phoenicians were the first basic alphabet. And he's showing how all the other alphabets after that stemmed from the Phoenician, or modern day Ireland, Irish. But the area he's talking about was Ireland at that time. But they were called Phoenicians. So.
Crap! I didn't know I was muted. I was saying this Irish stuff is very interesting, man. I'm really enjoying it, learning about this stuff.
Yeah, and also these are druids. These Iesu or Iesu religion was druidic, and so you'll sort of catch that. You may have already caught a little bit there, but so when he brings up the druids, he's talking about the same thing. The original Iesu, Irish, Phoenician, they go by many names because of it's all part of, well, yeah. Their names have been changed throughout our history, basically.
Hold on a second here. So, like, Connie Joe, okay, wait a minute. Philo Fire ask, what about the Omegabet? Omegabet? And then Connie Joe's got a question after that.
I'm not sure what the omega bit is. I don't know.
I think omega bet like instead of alphabet, omega bet.
Oh, okay.
And then Connie Joe said, now I know I'm in another dimension. I studied history and none of this was in it. No Tartaria.
Oh yeah, it definitely ain't in history. That's his point.
Yeah, his point
None
is
of this
that
is in history. It's all been erased from history by the Romans, which later became Christians and all kind of other stuff. But yeah, that's the whole point. That yeah, you won't find this in history unless you dig deep and not our type, not modern history.
You won't find it in the high school curriculum. Let's just put
because
it
you'll learn about the Phoenicians, but you'll never understand, according to his theory, that they were actually the first ever and true religion that worshipped Iesu, who were actually in Ireland. You see what I mean? So it is in our history, but you just can't see it because the names have been changed and things have been changed to cover it all up. That's his theory he's getting into. Did that answer the questions, hopefully?
Let's see. Opposite the alphabet, the omega bet. Okay. I'd have to look up the omega bet. But she put
I've
JK
never heard
after
of
that.
it. That's interesting.
She put JK after that, so I think she was just kidding.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I've never heard of the omega bet. I've heard of omega, alpha and omega. That's
Hebrew. Probably what the joke stems off of.
All right, we'll roll on, I guess.
So what or who was the Church of Iessa? It's what we call the ancient Celts, Druids, or the ancient Aryans of the past. It gets confusing because this group has been mixed with many different cultures, such as the early Phoenicians, the Greeks, the early Romans, and the early Hebrews. They erased them by dividing them up into different cultures and names, but they could only change it so much. There's still evidence of this Celtic connection etymologically. Now, historians will tell you that this group came from the east, from Mongolia, but this is to cover the history of Atlantis. There was a migration from west to east after the flood. One of the clues are the many maps that show the vast amount of architecture and cities all over the area that we now call Tartaria. In Tartaria Explained Part 1, we talked about how Tartar is Gaelic and it means thief, but it also means confusion. Maybe they were given that name on purpose? And this is the best part. In this old Gaelic etymological book, it says the word Tartar is often accounted for by the story of an Irish soldier who in some eastern battle called out that he had caught a Tartar. Eastern battle? Could this be the massive architectures and civilizations that we see in the East in these old maps? After Atlantis, a group of survivors landed in Ireland. At this time, the Black Fomorians were inhabiting Ireland. I have more info on this in the Secret Black History videos. There was a big war, and this is repeated in the legends of the Tuatha De Danann and others. But over time, this civilization, the ones that we hear in fairy tales and whatnot, is actually not that long ago. Maybe 500 to 600 years ago. It's hard to tackle that all at once, but I can explain.
Yeah, and real quick here, he also believes in the fact that they've not only lied about our history, but they've lied about the amount of time that's passed. So when he says this only happened 500-600 years ago, that would be, yeah. He also believes there's a major lie about the time. So
Yeah, and that's popular within almost all any buddy who goes into the whole Tartarian looks into Tartaria, they come to that same conclusion. And it seems like there's just a whole like 1,000 years or so that are just like vanished from the history book, where they try to basically say everything was 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago or 1,000 years ago, when essentially it was only 400, 500, 600 years ago.
right. And as he'll bring up in his theory, probably in this video, I'm not sure, but it may be in the series. In one of them, he'll bring up that was to make it look like Rome had ruled longer than it had.
That's something to wrap your mind around when you come to think about it, that it's actually a shorter amount of time than it actually, like you mentioned, says you 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. It sort of makes sense too. I mean, when you think about all these dead bodies that are floating around in glass cases that are so well preserved, and you think about it, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, I don't know, man. They seem awfully well preserved for 2,000 or 3,000 years. So changing the timeline and saying it's only been 600 or 700 years kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, again, I concur.
Yeah, and I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to pull off. I mean, they wrote our history books. We only know what we can read and been told. So it wouldn't be hard to hide time after, you'd have the first generation, the old folks, once they died off, their sons may remember a little, but there's still no proof. They'd be what, the early conspiracy theorist, maybe? Oh, you're crazy. That didn't happen. Look, it says right here,
Yeah, at the beginning of Fahrenheit 451, they're discussing the fact that, you mean firefighters used to actually put out fires?
Yeah, what are you talking about? That's crazy.
That's crazy stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, things just to make you think. I definitely don't agree with a lot of what he says. That should be quite obvious. Most of it from the go. But like I said, there is a lot of good little nuggets in here that I do agree with. So use your own discernment. We're not here to try to use this as gospel or anything. We're just sharing some interesting stuff.
Explain that as we go along. Now, this group, as soon as they succeeded, colonized Ireland, Britain, and Spain, and began to move to the east. In the past, these lands were all owned by the ancient Druids, and at one point, these land masses used to actually be merged together. But that's another story. The Druids went all the way to Russia and China and created a global empire. This culture at this point was no longer Irish or Celtic. This is now a global civilization, and we're at the 400, 300 year ago point now. Many different sects and cultures were developed from this church, creating the variety that we see today. When we present Tartaria, because I get people commenting all the time saying Tartarians were a very specific culture, well, we're not necessarily talking about that. We're talking about the white giant remains that can be found all around the world, similar myths and cultures that talk about red-haired giants that came and brought advanced civilization with them. Even the native Indians in America have legends about giants who possessed electrical technology 300 to 500 years ago. So then why say Tartaria? It's really about semantics. We're talking about the last global civilization, the ones responsible for all the similarity in architectures around the world, the ones who passed spirituality and religion after the fall of Atlantis into the New World, And they had cities and architectures in South, North America, Cambodia, China, Turkey, Iran, and it goes on and on. That's why you see the blue eyes in many of these cultures around the world, including similar dances and cultural references. They're just slightly varied based on the location. And don't get me wrong, some cultures are drastically different, but how can you explain the coincidence of similar archetypal and religious themes from around the world? There was one system. This is what we refer to as Tartaria, an advanced global civilization that was erased from history in the past 500 years, basically. It has nothing to do with the Tartars specifically. I've mentioned this in other videos. Now let's get into what were the mystery schools. There are two factors. You have the mystery schools after the Church of Ayesa was destroyed and taken over by the Jesuit Church, and they created these mystery schools sort of as a refuge for occultists in developing these abilities in secret. Okay, then you have the mystery schools that were during the Church of Ayesa. Now remember, the Church of Ayesa is not modern day Christianity, but it is its foundation. They didn't see magic as evil, but as a tool for spiritual enlightenment. I'm sure they had regulations for people who had any intention to use magic for evil. Which brings me to my next point, which is the concept of witches, Satan, and magic specifically being associated with evil came from the Jesuit Church themselves, or the Cabal. They purposefully created this view on magic in order to confuse us from our own power that lies within. And I'm sure there's many of you right now that are still denying the existence of an earlier Bible or the Church of Ayesa, but let's take a look at some of the forgeries created by the
Can you
church
pause
and the
it right there?
inconsistencies that are pushed in the modern day.
Now, what's your take on what he just said right there about the view of magic being suppressed and all of that jazz right there?
I don't know. I mean, I always was taught that magic was just pure evil and to never use magic, and that the Bible goes against magic and therefore God goes against magic. But I think he's talking about a different kind of magic. Like he's not talking about magic. I don't know.
Yeah, Armor, or you got anything you want to add to that? You're muted,
Well-
Armor. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking for a second. I do that sometimes. It hurts.
Every once in a while, yeah.
That's sort of, I don't got to be careful what I say here because I always get myself in trouble when I say stuff. I think it's possible. I mean, it is definitely pressed and has been pressed that it's totally evil. And coming from my background, it definitely can be used for evil. There's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
It works. But could it be used for good? Interesting. I mean, it's a very fine line because what do you consider good? Because
Yeah.
what you consider good could just be your own pride. I mean, yeah.
If it's for your
I
own,
don't
if
think
it's for,
magic is 100% evil, but I think if you're going to mess with it, you better make sure you're in the right. I don't even know what term to use, but like he sort of said there, even
It's
the
a
ones in
slippery
this
slope.
church of Aisu, he was sure if they did practice magic, did it in a very strict, confined, watched over process. And we're not talking sacrificial type magic. Again, magic's such a broad term. So to say, do I think all magic's evil? No. Some magic, yes. Anything you've got to do blood sacrifice for, that I would consider would be for the enemy. Because my father don't want no blood sacrifice. I don't care what Israel does. That's quite obvious in my other video. So father was never into a blood sacrifice. And that's a lot of what today's magic requires if you get into the higher, and even not the higher, but even mid-grade up.
Yeah.
True, if you're really practicing magic, you're going to bloodlet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's blood. It's called blood over intent. You hear about that on the internet, but that's sort of a stagey. That's
okay.
But that, yeah.
And I'm willing to think that maybe only the dark arts section of it is what has survived as common knowledge, or
Yeah.
like that we're all jaded into believing magic is and only of itself. But back then, it wasn't just that. There was a more positive side to it that existed, but it was something that you had to study, and you could only attain through years of cultivation and you had to earn that. You had to earn that the right to even be able to learn about it. So we're not really, we're so jaded, it's really and unfamiliar with it, it's impossible for us to conceive it that way.
Well,
I mean, if I was granted the powers of magic and like a rock fell on my friend or something like that, I would probably use it for that purpose to get the rock off of him. But like, I wouldn't use it for evil. Like if I used it to break it to a bank or something like that, I think that would be considered evil.
and I would say another way to look at it is, again, it's all in terms. The term magic, like you say, we've been conditioned to think of as bad, especially if you're a Christian type person. Magic's bad. That's evil. And it absolutely is and can be. I know. It definitely can be evil and bad. Absolutely. But let's look at it in a biblical type term, or more to a modern type term. What is getting filled with the power of the Holy Spirit mean? I mean, I believe when the time comes, we're going to do awesome stuff like Jay talked about. And I believe the same. We're going to have quote unquote super type powers. There's no doubt about it. That's why we have our armor. That's why we're supposed to be getting ready. That's why we go through what we go through to make us strong and ready to do it when the time comes. Wouldn't that be considered magic to someone? I mean, if you start being able to do things in the spiritual that affects the natural, like I truly believe is going to happen, then isn't that magic? I mean, wouldn't that be considered magic? So I think if there is a good magic, you're going to get it when you need it to do what needs to be done, all in the will of the Father, as I call him, or higher power if you prefer, or creator, as the old religion.
We got some comments, Armor. I was gonna, before you resume.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see here. I'll just do them in order. Go Kart Bob says maybe they're saying magic when they mean miracle.
Exactly. That's another way. Again, it's the term. Isn't a miracle magic? Wouldn't that, I mean, if you were looking at it in Jesus' day, if you seen him raise Lazarus, wouldn't you be like, whoa? You know, I mean, that'd be considered a type of magic in your mind. You know, it's all in terms. So do I think all magic is evil? It depends on the term. First of all, what do you consider magic? Because I don't think miracles are evil. I don't think us doing more than he was able to do when the time comes is going to be evil. You know, it's so if that's considered part of magic, then no, absolutely all magic isn't evil. But yeah,
sorry about that.
Good point, Bob. Go ahead.
All right. Keith's dad says, like how Satan tempted Jesus, they were always stated in a way that made it sound like a good thing.
Well, yeah, that's just part of the great deceiver. But yeah, you know, he can. And that's why I say you better make sure you're being led the right way, or I would definitely not recommend practicing magic. I would say when you need it, you'll have it, is the way I look at it, if you're being led by the Spirit. But yeah, you could easily, that's exactly what he still does. If you could, you know, a lot of people get into magic just for silly reasons, and boom, he can get a hold of you, and you're opening a door. There's no doubt about that. And if you don't watch what you're doing, he could easily lead you astray. And yep, turn what you started out for good to bad real quick.
File of Fire commented, I feel the same, Armor. The thou shalt not kill, harm none.
Yeah.
And
What
Jennifer
are you using your
Richardson.
magic for? You know, it's sort of like sin. If you're hurting someone else, you're sinning. If you're using magic to hurt someone else, you're sinning. You know what I mean? It's all the same thing. What are you using it for? It isn't the object that's bad, or the knowledge that's bad, or that isn't what's bad. You know, Father made everything good. The bad guy twisted a lot of it to bad. So it's all in your intentions. That's why it says your heart. You know, that's why you're supposed to guard your heart. It's your intentions. If your intentions are to make yourself better at the expense of someone else, that's not good magic. That's bad. You know, if your intentions are to help someone, like Heber said it, to get that rock off your buddy it just fell on, that's good. You know,
And
but
then back to that, because I was thinking about that when Hebrew said it, and at the time I was actually applying it to him, but then now I flipped it around and put it on me. If I had the ability to use magic to rob a bank and think I could get away with it, by golly, I sure as heck would rob the bank. I wouldn't even think twice about doing it. And I think that almost any average person would at least consider doing it if they were in a desperate enough of a situation. And I think that's the whole reason why, if magic ever really was being practiced on a regular basis by individuals, it was only selectively taught to the most disciplined individuals, because you couldn't have people just running around like the Wild West doing magic all over the place. And then the other thing I see here is Keith. Go-Kart Bob says comes down to the definition and use of the word. Jennifer Richard Alizé, with great power comes great responsibility. Keystad, a miracle isn't magic by its definition. A miracle is God's will, not from individual will. So I guess that's the discrepancy he's making there between miracle and magic.
well, right. I wouldn't call a miracle magic, but I'm saying the bystander, the guy standing there, your average Joe looking
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, he would have a
They
hard
would
time.
say, "Wow, that's magical. That's
Yeah,
magic."
exactly. And then Final Fire 3, yeah, Jen, perhaps that is why even the greatness of who we really are and what we are capable of has been kept hidden, good reasons and bad. Agreed, says Jennifer Richardson to Final Fire. And Grumpy Troll's here. And he has to say it's mostly neutral and has been hidden from us and used by the elite. I don't practice magic, nor do I call it magic. It's a natural force given to us by the Creator.
I would say that's a good summation. Absolutely. I would agree wholeheartedly with that statement. And welcome, Grumpy Troll, and all good statements. Awesome, audience.
Yep. And Jennifer Richardson Alizade said she just created her own money. Poof.
That's what the
That's
elite
what Joe
sort of
Biden
trying to
does.
do. They're creating their own money. Problem is they're
Yep.
using us to do it, but
Yeah, Joe Biden says just print some more, guys. Get the printing press going.
Just hike the gas. We'll make some more.
I think
All
we
right.
can resume now.
All right, let's roll on. We're all but halfway through it, so.
Now, this is pretty lengthy. I mean, a lot to cover just for one single video or even a single book. Quote, "As I have shown by citations that forgeries were committed, I shall prove by explanations that our Bible is an Irish book of pre-Roman times and an out-and-out theft without acknowledgement from the Irish Church of Iessa. Any competent person who knows the Irish language cannot fail to recognize it." Quote, "Our present version of the Bible then is an authorized adaptation from the original Irish scriptures with alterations and additions made from time to time by Roman and British churchmen in secrecy as they deemed it necessary and advisable to do so." Quote,
Just want to say real quick what he's going to get into now is, as he just said, he believes our Bible, what we got, the translated King James Version, and actually before that even, but the one, what turned into the King James of our time, was actually the original Bible came from the Church of Iusa, and it was written in Irish or Gaelic or Phoenician. I mean, it goes by different names, but it was written by that church in that language. And he's going to show you now how this Irish, because this is all an Irish book he's reading from, history, Irish wisdom preserved in Bible and pyramids, how they prove some of these words have an Irish origin, not Hebrew, not Greek, but there's no doubt they were Irish, and they tried to cover it up. So that's basically what he's going to get into, because it's sort of hard to follow.
Following agreement in the writings under the names of Matthew, Mark, and Luke regarding the impression made upon the people by the teachings of Jesus is an example which shows plainly the work of forging priests. It would be impossible for such agreement to have occurred in the original writings of any three men writing individually and independently on any subject whatsoever. But in fabrication from the older works and collaborating, the pre-scribes simply blundered and made each of the three witnesses write down and repeat the same identical expression in copy as to how Jesus impressed the people. Here is the forged testimony. Matthew says, "They were astonished at his doctrine." Mark says, "They were astonished at his doctrine." Luke says, "They were astonished at his doctrine." Quote, "Many authors and critics have commented upon and pointed out the inaccuracies and inconsistencies of the scriptures, and many of them have stated their firm belief that they were copied from older books. But none of them could obtain a clue beyond a surmise which was far from the truth, and none of them was able to produce the real facts which was necessary to convince." Quote, "They found so many flaws in it, which the jugglers did not cover up, that it kept the question open until the solution was found. The true source has escaped discovery until now. At least it has never been disclosed to the knowledge of mankind as a whole. The Irish scriptures were altered and adapted to the scheme of the church in order to make the fable of Iessa a historical and geographical fact. Names from the scriptures were given to the places in Syria during its occupation by the Crusaders to bear this out. It also suited the purpose of British statecraft to obscure and suppress all evidence of the greatness and culture of the Irish nation, than whom no people in the world's history have reached greater heights both spiritually and intellectually, nor have suffered greater injustice at the hands of priestly impostors or political oppressors." Quote, "The men who were engaged in executing this literary fraud committed as well as the audacious crime of completely effacing all evidence of credit due to the Irish nation for the most brilliant and glorious service to civilization and human enlightenment. It almost passes belief that a fraud so stupendous could escape so long without discovery. But when we consider the thoroughness and extent to which the plot was carried out, and the magnitude of the forces which were employed in the work, it's not so much to be wondered at. Forces such as the Roman Empire, with its world power, then the Roman Catholic Church, and the British Kingdom, with propaganda systemically spread abroad in order to create a false impression of everything pertaining to the past history of Ireland and her people. These are the forces which have perpetrated and profited by this great fraud. The deception is still continued, and the secret jealously guarded by both the Roman Church and Britain from the world at large, but more particularly from the Irish people who have suffered so much from those two adverse forces. The men who executed this plot were acting jointly in the interest of both Rome and Britain. Even to this day, the British government does not encourage, even if it will allow, excavations or investigations to be made about the Hill of Tara in Ireland." Let's just stop there for a second. There's a lot to read, but he gives a couple more examples of the usage of Irish symbols being used in the Bible. I'll try to add a couple more. Quote, "I'll give 2 citations here, with more to follow, to show that the names of many of the characters in the Bible are plainly Irish, and it is because of this fact that the Irish Roman Catholic priest would not allow the Irish Catholics to read the Bible. They were told not to read it, that it was not a sufficient rule of faith. The real reason was that some of the Irish people might recognize the..."
They were
Well, yeah,
actually
people-
told not to read it. Why? Because they would make the correlation? Is that what he's implying there?
That's what he's implying, yeah, because they'd say, well, these are Irish names. What's going on? Because they're so obviously Irish to someone of that time, he's saying.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, not that long ago, people were told not to read their Bible. I mean, reading your Bible isn't something that's been spread until recently. You know what I mean? Usually it was just what the priest is saying. You might get it out and follow along when he's giving a sermon, but you weren't told to read your Bible.
Gotcha. I just thought that was interesting. You know, they didn't want them to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah. Yep. All right, how we doing in the chat? Any comments, questions? Keep rolling.
Let
How
me
we
just
doing?
a second. Let me check here. Yeah, Grumpy Trolls said quite a bit. Let's see here. Let me go. I have to scroll up. I gotta scroll up some more. Let's see.
That's what we like, an active chat.
Let's see. It's Grumpy Troll says it's mostly neutral and has been hidden from us. Okay, I already read that one. All right. Philo Fire, co-creation, two sides to choose to work with. Choose God, choose love. Go-Kart Bob, Moses turned his staff into a snake. Was it magic or a miracle?
Yep, good point. Would be considered magic to the magicians that did the same thing, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. To be creative is to go be close to God because he is creative, says Hannah Walker. And Keystad, magic is a slippery slope. If you use magic to save a life, you never know if it's good. That death could have been because otherwise they would have a child that became an evil dictator. I see where he's going there. And then Grumpy Troll, things converged in the 14th century that set up the current reality we live in, and it's based on numbers. The Gregorian calendar to confuse the dates, the King James Version of the Bible to confuse the word, and the establishment of the second or of the 26 letter English language, and Philo Fire.
Well, let me say,
Go ahead.
Grumpy, you nailed it again. I'd agree. There's a lot more going on than meets the eye. There's no doubt about that, and that's sort of what this guy says. About 1,000 years, 600-700 years were added. Calendars were messed with. Yep. But go ahead, Philo Fire.
Oh yeah. Philo Fire responding to Keystad. I would suppose it depends on who you are allowing yourself to open it up to as a conduit for those works. And then Grumpy Troll, they use ancient esoteric knowledge to construct all of these things into a giant multi-generational chessboard to numerically place their events and use God's code. Hannah Walker, at one time only priests were allowed to read it. I think
Absolutely.
you mentioned that, Emma.
Yep, absolutely.
And Philo Fire 3, I had experience where I helped injured wildlife heal. Birds mostly, insects as well, by calling on the powers of God. I have always asked humbly and specified that it be done by divine will of God.
Yep, and I think that's just a small sampling of things we could do if we, again, terms, remember, terms are terms. If we, quote, allow the Spirit to work through us and give us the power it wants us to have at the time we need it to bring glory to the Father. You know, that's what it's all about. Call it magic, call it whatever you want to call it. But if we would all start doing it, the world would definitely be a little bit better. Could we save the world? I don't know. I doubt it. The world's in pretty bad shape, but we could definitely make our part of it a much better place to be.
Couldn't agree with you more there, Armor. All right, let's go ahead.
But again, like Philo Fire said about the channel you open, that's why I say, do it with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit's got all the magic you're ever going to need whenever you're going to need it. That's what I'm saying. So as long as you're letting the Holy Spirit fill you and guide you, you'll be all right. You open it up to the wrong spirit and you're not going to be so okay. No matter how good it starts out, because they're good at pretending.
Well said. Hebrew, anything you want to add before we resume the video?
Again, I
All
thought I
right.
was muted. But yeah, so the thing is, you got to be careful. You just got, it can be a slippery slope. And like Armor said, if you're standing there in the street corner and you see, like, let's say we go all the way back to the time of Jesus, and you see Jesus performing some of those miracles, you go, just like David Copperfield, you would probably go, oh my goodness, that's very magical. But of course, I'm not saying David Copperfield is Jesus. What he does is just fake and illusions. But I'm saying, like, that's what they knew as magic back then. They didn't know anything else that would be considered. You know what I mean? I think they even said that about Jesus at one time. Oh, like the what were they called? The Henderseys said he's performing magic. I think that was
the
Okay.
Sadducees, the Pharisees.
Yeah.
And there were magicians back then. I mean, we read about the one in the Bible, Simon the magician. I mean, he's an axe. It ain't like, magic was practiced back then too. Like Bob said about when Moses threw his staff down. Yes, he's turned his into a snake, but so did the magicians that were working on the other side. So right there again, magic clean back in the Old Testament. So magic's always been there. We've just always been told it's bad. Don't mess with it. And again, I would agree. Don't mess with it. But we can't let that hinder us from letting the Holy Spirit use us in magical ways. That's the downside of being scared of magic or reaching out to get in touch.
Yeah, because then you could fall into the false pretense of, if you witness magic, assuming that it's evil when it was maybe not necessarily, when it was actually manifested through the Holy Spirit, but perceived as magic. So, like, I could see how that could be flipped backwards, and then you assume that person is evil when they may have actually been doing something good.
And Jesus warns, one of the sternest warnings that he ever gives when that happens to him. When the Pharisees, you're doing all these things because of your father, the devil. They accuse him of being filled with the devil, with the evil spirit. And that's how he can cast out the evil spirits. And that's when he gives the warning, which is highly misunderstood, and I don't know why. It's right there. All you got to do is read it. About, oh, you better be careful because you can blaspheme me. But don't ever blaspheme the Holy Spirit, because that is a big no-no. You can't come back from that. That's what Jesus says, basically. Putting it in my own terms, but that's when he says that, is when they do exactly what you just said you might do. If you see someone doing something you might consider magical to help someone and immediately saying, oh man, they're using magic, they're bad, that you be careful, because that's exactly what they said to Jesus. And he said, oh, you do no, don't ever do that. That you can't come back from that.
And also, one more thing before we move on here. Go-Kart Bob wants to know the definition for omen.
Omen? Well, I think the normal definition that I would think of is like a sign, a pre, what's the word I want to use? Yeah, like a sign, I guess, or there's I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. A portent. pretense. But I guess a warning sign sort of would be what I would think of.
Yeah,
I don't know
like a
the
bad-
official
like a bad
definition,
omen.
but
Yeah, like a bad omen. Yeah. Also, Connie Joe says she's gonna have to bounce, man. She's like, she got a call from her nephew. Let me see if I'm reading this right. She got a call. What did she say? From her nephew who just got moved to a regular room from ICU.
all right. We'll love you, Connie Joe, and we'll definitely keep him in our prayers. Hope he's doing better, and I hope the baby's well and doing wonderful.
And that's it. That's it.
All right. Shall I roll on?
Yep.
All right.
The Irish names in a Jewish Bible and ask questions that it would embarrass them to answer satisfactorily. Nevertheless, it is a very astonishing thing that now appears so clearly fraudulent could have escaped detection for so long a time. It will therefore be a surprise to Bible readers of today, who have had no suspicion of this deception, to be told that it was through the medium of the Irish language that the true key would be found for the solution of the mystery of the origin of the Bible. The proof of this fact is here given for all mankind to see and know. Quote, the first of the two citations to be given in this chapter is from the book of John, chapter 3, 23rd verse. Quote, and John was baptizing in Aenon near to Salem, because there was much water there, and they came and were baptized. In the latest revision of the Bible, the doctors have altered the word of Aenon and have made it Enon. In the older version, it is Aenon. This is a compound of two Irish words. Ain, meaning a circle of the sun, a year, and on, also a name of the sun. The complete word itself means the sun. The word on also signifies cause, reason, swiftness, fierceness, eagerness, excellent, noble, good, and also wolf dog. These are qualities and attributes associated with and applied to the solar sun. And to the sun god by the Aryan or Irish priest of Iessa, their theology was based on the idea that the supreme deity never had nor has a name. He is only known by attributes as the good or God, holy most high, etc., and as the solar sun in the center of light. And his great representative, or sun, in our system, the sun god, is named after the qualities and attributes of some idea such as the horseman, or charioteer, the strong one, or Samson, or the fierce one, Homs, the heavenly wolf, who is eager, swift, and fierce. The Irish, during their sojourn in Egypt, gave the name of On to one of their cities in the Nile. The city of On, the city of the sun, was afterwards called Heliopolis by the Greeks and Romans, or actually the Phoenicians. Salem is a Hebrew word, but the basis of it is in the Irish word solas, light, as Hebrew is a jargon of the Irish. It follows more or less closely the root it is taken from, as will be seen. So Salem means the city of God or light. Let's continue.
Pause
Quote,
it right there.
the meaning of this myth is that John.
I think that's interesting because we're always making reference to the quote unquote Salem witch trials. And then he says Salem means the city of God or light. I never knew that until now. I think that's quite, I don't know, just an interesting connection.
Yeah. Yep. That is interesting because, like you said, when we hear the word Salem, we instantly think of evil, dark,
Yeah.
witch trials. Again, bad magic.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it actually is translated from the original word, which would mean city of God or light, city of light, city of God. But I this is one thing that blew my mind when he said it in here is about how they believed God, the Father, has no name. I can definitely buy into that. I think that'd be a whole subject to get off on. But yeah, I think name is a big part of the problem of some of what they did when they did what they did with our modern day Bible. I think they used the word name on purpose to cause a lot of confusion, like it does. I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, it blew me away when he said they believed their God had no name. I'm like, huh, interesting.
The other thing, Yeah. Keith's dad just dropped a link to your channel, by the way.
Cool. Thank you, Keith Dad.
And Connie Joe's got an update. She said he has Crohn's disease and his blood pressure dropped to 59/35. Wow.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. I lost the comment. Grandbaby not born yet. He's fine. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, and I don't know if I gave an update, but my son and daughter-in-law are having a baby finally. They've been trying for a long, long time, and should have a little girl here in July. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Yes, definitely keep them in your prayers.
All right. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm going to back up just a smidge because it's pretty cool how when you read the translation according to what he believes is the original Irish, it would read as this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's about to read.
Real quick, Jennifer Richardson says, "Yay, armor!"
Yay, yay, Thorin, my son, and Melissa, his wife. Been a long, hard battle, but yep, a lot of prayer and hey, a lot of science, a lot of doctors being led. I mean, it all, yeah. It wasn't completely natural because it couldn't be, but it was as natural as could be. Put it that way. I don't know how much they want me to share it with public, but
right.
It's an awesome miracle. Put it that way. I know what it is. I don't have a problem with science helping with miracles. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Because God gave the scientists the tools to do such a thing.
He's still the one that gives life, however
Right.
it gets there.
Mm-hmm.
The root it is taken from, as will be seen. So Salem means the city of God or light. Let's continue. Quote, the meaning of this myth is that John, Ain, the sun, was baptizing in Aenon, the city of the sun, near to Salem, the city of God, in the realm of light, the celestial kingdom. Where else could such a being as the pure and perfected man be said to dwell? In this myth, John, Ain, Aeon, or Ein, three forms of the word and all pronounced Ein, represents the redeemed and glorified man at the highest stage of spiritual attainment, next to the messianic state, so that in his succeeding life or incarnation here again on earth, he will be the Messiah. In the Irish mythic narrative of the Bible, we see that after John, the prophet and the holy man, comes the perfected man God, the Messiah, Iesa, Jesus. Quote, this is an example of the esoteric truth and wisdom which lies hidden beneath the veil of the scriptural allegory as formulated by those inspired Irish adepts. And though they have been denied the credit of authorship through a thieves' compact of silence, their wisdom and their works still exist in both the Bible and the Great Pyramid of Iesa. Like I said, there's definitely more to go over, but this is a pretty big claim to cover in a single video. There's a lot to look at. But most of the confusion lies in that when the Jesuits took over the church, they added 1,000 years to our history, renamed many ancient historians, forged manuscripts, and changed the dating of everything to give this illusion that Rome was in power for 1,000 years longer than it really was. So the major point to take from this is that in the last 1,000 years, there was a major global civilization that made architectures around the world, and they didn't fall until about 200 to 300 years ago, maybe
Pause it
even
right
more
there.
recent. A second
All right, so I okay, back before or after the whole Salem thing, the way they were doing the derivatives of the name of John, I thought that was interesting. And then he goes on to make the point of how the Romans basically added 1,000 years to the history to basically make it seem like they were in power much longer. To me, that is not a far-fetched conspiracy thought. I mean, I can totally see the Romans doing that based on all the other stuff that the history admits that the Romans did. Why would add 1,000 years to make it seem like they were in power longer be a far-fetched conclusion to reach, you know?
Yeah, and like I said, it wouldn't be that hard to pull off considering they got the history. I mean, look at what we know for a well, considered a fact. They admit that the great library of what was it, Alexandria, was destroyed and burned. Why was all that history destroyed and burned? You know, perhaps it showed the truth. Perhaps, they couldn't have this history out there when they're rewriting their own. All the old history had to go, and all the old history did go.
Yeah, and anything that is an original document is kept under lock and key. But the average person like me or you isn't even actually able to see it. I've heard stories of the stuff that the Vatican has, under lock and key. Everything from the Ark of the Covenant to you name it. But so it would if you don't have access to the original copy, you can pretty much tell anybody it says whatever you want it to say, right?
Well, yeah, if you're writing the manuscripts and the papyrus and everything else from then on, yeah, you pretty much are writing your history, however you want it, and there's no way to deny it.
Yeah, like I've said before, instead of history, just call it his story.
Yep, and that's basically what he's saying happened. They added 1,000 years so that it looked like Rome's been rolling forever, and all these buildings were theirs, and all these churches were theirs, and all this stuff was theirs, and they didn't build any of it. They pretty much took it over, is basically what he's saying from this Iesu church.
And I'm not saying I 100% buy every little detail of the Tartarian thing, but I think some of the key points he's making do seem rather plausible.
Yeah, and like we said at the beginning, there's nuggets of truth, I believe, in everything. Just use your discernment, look into it yourself and just check it out. There's definitely interesting. We know there's something going on. We all admit that. We know they've been lying to us pretty much from the word go. And so, anything's possible at this point.
All right, well, let's keep it moving, or we're never going to get through it.
Cataclysm happened, not the flood, but something that caused this civilization to be destroyed. Then, the Jesuit Catholic Church came in, took this knowledge, rewrote history, converted the system to their own system, and left out any ability for someone to gain this power through their own accord. They must reach God through the church. It wasn't like this in the Church of Iessa. Okay, so now we move on to King James. So supposedly he had a vision.
And that would make sense and would agree with what I believe, because that's what Jesus came to do. You don't need a church. You don't need these people. I am now connecting you straight back to the Father. Go to him. You don't need anything else.
He's cutting out the middleman.
Yep. You need no middleman, middle building, middle anything. You can now talk directly to the Father. So, yeah, I can agree with that part.
Vision or whatever, and was destined to create this English translation. This is still the same Jesuit system, but converted into a more Shakespearean presentation. Now, there are multiple things to address. The first is the extreme likelihood, if not fact, that Francis Bacon was the main editor of the King James Bible. Notice how I didn't say create the Bible. I got a lot of comments on the Christian Origin series saying, oh, the Bible's far older than King James or Francis Bacon. Obviously, I'm stating that not only was he the main editor for the Bible, but was also Shakespeare. Francis was also the writer of the New Atlantis, where he imagined a technocratic, scientifically run society. He was an occultist that hid secret Rosicrucian symbols within the Bible. The goal was to establish the church as a method for collecting all the esoterically inclined individuals or those with connection to spirit and put them in a mind trap in which they prayed to an unknown god.
I just want to cut in real quick, and I know we got to keep going or we'll never get through it, but if you do have older Bibles, like I try to collect Bibles, so when I see Bibles, I grab them. So I got some older ones, and it is amazing the symbolism I find in some of these older Bibles. And it's like, wow, why are these in here? So there is no doubt that there's Rosicrucian and Masonic type symbols in the older Bibles, no doubt at all.
I'm sure those are very
You could only
interesting illustrations too.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why I like collecting them. Learn a lot from symbology.
that metaphysical power through the church. They took the philosophy and virtues of ancient knowledge and integrated it into a powerful ritual of spiritual tyranny. Now let's slow down there. That doesn't mean there isn't truth in the Bible, and that also doesn't mean that Jesus or a Jesus-type figure didn't exist. Okay? So let's bring up the Church of Iessa again. Remember, this was the original church. These old Tartarian churches from around the world are from these people. They were not originally designed to be praying centers where demons would suck your spiritual energy, but they were originally designed as sacred geometrical healing centers that would charge the aether body of man. There's also this idea that they used these churches as spiritual transport systems in which they could rematerialize their bodies in different locations. I've talked about how this society didn't eat meat and or food at all, since all these cities do not have proper sewer systems in their founding. The reason is because this civilization was on a different wave of spiritual consciousness and technology. Over time, other nations formed independent of this church and began plotting its demise. We see this come out of Rome with the Jesuits after they take over the world through some unfortunate circumstances, whether it be cataclysm or the sun disappearing or even some type of plasma apocalypse. You have the early Tartarian age.
Catch what he just said there, Saji? Or even some type of plasma apocalypse.
Yep, I heard that.
And the fall
wow.
of Tartaria. The fall of the Tartarian age is within the last 600 to 300 years, where there were many changes that took place. In the 1700s, California was an island on many maps. There's no possible way that this could be just an error if the history they tell us is true. There's also countless problems for the founding of many cities that many channels have covered the inconsistencies and pointed out that there's many things that don't really make sense. At some point, there was a steampunk type age in Europe and America, where aether-free energy technology was being used. This is not necessarily the technology of Tartaria, but after these empty cities of Tartaria were being filled, they began finding ancient advanced technology from the Church of Iessa. They found them in the churches, train stations, and are now called government buildings. These were re-engineered to develop many of the technologies that we use today. There were still leftover nations of Tartaria in this age, and it wasn't until 1812 that they had been fully conquered. Now, early Tartaria is within the last 1,000 years. This is at its prime. We hear about this in many of the myths around the world, where teachers came and taught the arts and sciences and fundamentals of civilization. They established their spiritual priesthood around the world. And look, I'm not really one of those zeitgeist guys, that brings up astrotheology and just says, Jesus never existed. I think he could have possibly been a druid. But this is ultimately the story of a spiritual helper who existed during this time of cataclysm to come and help others who were unaware of their spiritual power from within. Fomenko, which if you haven't heard of his work, suggests a completely different chronology than our modern timeline. He suggests that the dates for the Old Testament are actually of a much more recent time, and it is the New Testament that is actually of a more ancient origin. Maybe it's possible that Francis Bacon and other Jesuit occultists of the New World decided to create the Bible in such a cryptic and spiritually influencing spell that would ban humans from using magic or pursuing spiritual enlightenment for themselves. Maybe they thought that this was the best way to protect humanity from another cataclysm. As I mentioned with Francis Bacon's book,
That's
The
an
New
interesting
Atlantis,
theory.
they wanted to create a science
What's
That
that?
the magic has been suppressed to keep humanity from experiencing another cataclysm.
Yeah.
scientifically run society or tyranny that will be the new Atlantis. It won't fall and fail like the last one. Was that the goal? Well, how would they accomplish that? Well, they would just completely remove magic from the picture. Yeah, but we can't just take it away. It's not something physical. It's a natural right and process of reality. You have to relabel it and give another solution. The solution was, all you have to do is believe in Jesus and you will be spiritually saved. Don't go through the work and training of mind that is required to go through such an ancient, sacred tradition of understanding and knowing God. All you need is this physical book and Jesus, and you will have everything you need. For many, that's true. And there's no intention to take that away from you. However, If we look at the tyranny of the church and the removal of knowledge of the past age of the church, we see a deliberate attempt to remove ancient knowledge from passing on into this next age. Ancient knowledge is the perception of the world, it's the cosmology of the past. They needed to remove this concept that God is actually within man. This is the foundation for how the original church had practiced their philosophy, and it was not seen as blasphemous at all. Many advanced intellectual minds were created from this ancient philosophy of spiritual planes, and faculties resulted from their practice. Modern examples of magic include Satanism, which has nothing to do with the ancient tradition. They just have radicalized a compressed and oversimplified version of magic for evil and sometimes simply for cultural influence. New Ageism is the wokeness in spirituality. Things like the secret law of attraction or these cringy occult stores that are trying to sell spirituality to you. They have made occult knowledge look like a joke in the modern day. Then you have these elite cabal Luciferians, if you want to call them that, or who are taking part in magic. So, is magic evil? No. First off, if it wasn't for many of these individuals, I'm not sure we would know anything about the occult. Sure, I think many of these individuals partook in spreading propaganda to a degree, but let's just take Manly P. Hall, for example. Now, there are some weird things about his story for sure, and he was a high-ranking Freemason or whatever, but that by no means takes away the knowledge presented in his works. You can call him evil, you can say he's elite, but until you actually read his works, you'll find it's just not the case. Magic is not only the ability to make change in the real world through different practices and the implications that follow, such as the cosmology of mind over matter, but it's the foundation for spiritual practice and enlightenment. We shouldn't avoid it simply because we see different elite figures who want to use.
Before we get too far away, I liked how he broke down the different denominations of the New Ager and the Cabal and the secret teachings, because so easily nowadays do they all get kind of transfused into one specific thing, and I know there is a distinct yet subtle difference between each one of those categories that he mentioned. I just found that really refreshing that he was able to make those clear distinctions.
Cool. Yep.
And yeah, go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off, but I just had to say that.
Use it for control. If anything, it might be the only way to escape tyranny is to reclaim our natural-born magical powers and consciousness. Magic is a tool. You use it on a daily basis. If you're a Christian, you do it unconsciously. Praying is a form of magic. You're wishing for something to happen through a ritual of asking God in some form of repetitive mantra. Any type of hope thinking or belief is a form of magic. Speaking in tongues, baptism, candle lighting, the Eucharist, bell ringings are just some examples of Christian magic. Magic also includes the realm of natural magic, sprites, nature forces, fairies, as above, so below. These are natural foundations for the way our reality works. You can't just take that away, and you can't just claim it's evil. So, why would you want to do magic? Well, if you're asking that, you must mean consciously, as it's a part of the way this realm works, and it's a natural process within our consciousness. Why would you want to do conscious magic? To develop faculties for more inner awareness, spiritual astral journeys during dreaming, intuition, guidance, knowledge, and or developing the self and influencing creativity. It is the influence of the genius. Hopefully soon we can change our perspective on magic to preserve it for generations to come. Assist in this process by liking, subscribing, maybe even tell a friend. And all we can hope is that our minds may be unveiled.
Let go.
All right, there you have it.
All right, yeah, that was very interesting. Needless to say, I hope the audience enjoyed it. We do have some new chat, but you can probably come and read them yourself now. I don't have to read them to you. But the chat room is a buzzing, and I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as, or at least found it at least bit interesting, which it seems like they did. How about you, Hebrew? What you say?
Yeah, I mean that was great, man. It answered a bunch of questions and left some questions unanswered, but I mean, like, in all, is engaging. It was interesting. It was topical. It certainly got the chat room a buzzing, and I liked all the Irish stuff that I never knew before. And it makes you think about our actual timeline. Like, yeah, I mean, people could have gotten that wrong. I mean, that could be not necessarily wrong, but they could have lied to us about all of that. I mean, just to sit there and think about that alone is enough to fill your head to want to go and do some research. They talk about the age of trees by finding the rings inside trees and stuff, and they talk about the moss that's on rocks and how old are fossils that they find in the ground and stuff. And but how did they know that? See, now if we've been lied to in every single history book in the world, then now the scientists air quotes, have nothing to compare that to. If those are all lies, then that means that the rings inside the trees and the moss on the rocks and all the fossils that are in the ground are now all have to be coordinated too. And then the other thing is, a lot of the different timelines that he mentions, like if it's not 2 or 3,000 years old, then it sort of also matches up with the timelines that the Bible mentions. So that's kind of cool. I know I just said a mouthful there, so I'll leave it up to you, Armor.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. Said it was. I see the chat enjoyed it. They said good video, well put together, and informative. So yeah, and like we said, just something to think about. Keep your minds open because, there's no doubt in my mind that the book was messed with. I mean, I made that obvious with the video I did a year or two ago that caused all the stir. So and it was. I'm still, I still believe in Jesus and what he said. That's the thing. You can't let this say, well, now he's saying the Bible's no good. No, the Bible is absolutely 100% very important because we still need Jesus and what he said. They couldn't hide that. They tried. They might have changed names. But they can't hide the message. You can't stop the Father's message. It's there. But, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that it's also been messed with and used for bad things. And, I know I make a lot of Christians mad when you say that because that's the word of God and it can't be messed with. Well, okay. We believe what we believe. Believe what you want to believe. I'm not telling you to believe everything. I'm just stating what I believe. That goes on.
I think, yeah, and I think, I mean, when my discernment tells me that, yeah, on one hand, I'm not going to argue that the information has been suppressed and the timeline has been altered, but where my discernment gets stuck in play is was it really for our own protection or was it for their own protection? That's where my discernment isn't sure because I think that I really wouldn't want to envision a world where everybody is practicing magic and it's like like I said earlier, like the Wild West, but instead of with a 6-shooter, everybody's got magic wands or tree branches and stuff and magic staffs and with crystals in them. I mean, I don't necessarily want that kind of reality, but at the same time, I don't necessarily if it was something that really truly existed and is being kept from us to keep some type of apocalypse from occurring again, then I'm okay with that. So I don't know. That's where my discernment is on all of that. But I do believe that we all have the power within ourselves by getting with the Holy Spirit to be led in the right direction. And by when I say ourselves, listen, a lot of times I think our gut intuition is the Spirit trying to talk to us. Whether we choose to listen or not is a whole different story. And I do think that it's something that we can all take away from this is there is a lot more truth out there yet to be discovered. And here on Shifty Sunday, we're going to do our best to bring it to you bit by bit, piece by piece, crumb by little bitty breadcrumb, if you will, but we will keep trying to bring it to you. And I want to thank you, Hebrew 77, for having me on the platform here with you, Armor for coming on and being an important part of it, and everybody in the chat for showing up and adding their part as well. And those are my final words, guys.
All right. Well, yeah, my final words is shout out to the chat, of course. Glad they were intrigued and entertained and open minded enough to hear what he had to say. Again, I don't agree with a lot of it, but I do find interesting nuggets in there that match up with some of the stuff that I believe and I've been showed over the years. So hopefully you'll find something good with it too. And as far as why did they suppress it for our good or for their good, I just looking at what's happened since then, I would say it was, if they're the only side using this knowledge or in quote unquote what you would call magic, then they pretty much can do whatever they want. If we had an equal stance, they probably wouldn't get away with it so easily, if at all. So I definitely don't think it was suppressed to keep us from harming ourselves. I think it was suppressed to keep us from stopping them. And I also think that's part of what's going to happen when this all comes to a head. We ain't going to be suppressed no more. But we ain't going to have to practice magic. I believe we're just going to be able to do it when the time comes through the power of the Holy Spirit. So that's all I got to say for the evening.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on this Shifty Sunday. And as far as Shifty Sunday goes, I think we're going to keep dishing out these same sort of themes and kind of just go along with what we're doing. Just keep it powerful and strong, like we've always done. And we'll see you guys on the next Shifty Sunday broadcast. And as for all the other broadcasts, I don't know. But this has been Hebrew 77 along with Sagittarically Speaking and good old Armor Up saying good night, everybody. Take care of each other and yourselves, and good night. Oh, and also one more thing before we go. Armor.
Yes,
Armor,
sir.
Guess what?
Chicken butt.
Well, that too, but I found your helmet. Like I found your helmet and your sword. I just got to find your wings.
You still ain't found my wings.
No.
Man, call Jimmy Stewart.
I know. Yeah. Go Jimmy Stewart. That's a good way to end the show. All right. Good night, everybody. Do. Well, it's time to say goodbye, folks. Adios. So long. See you next time. Don't forget to watch Shifty Sunday, Taco Tuesday, and Slap Your Butt Saturday. Every week, we have a new live stream headed your way. And of course, I put videos only about every other day on the channel by the channel. That's not necessarily true.
Remember,
snakes don't always bite, but when they do, get a 22 revolver and shoot their ass. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
How do I keep missing Slap Your Butt Saturday?
Hey, Charlie, what are you doing over there? I'm eating a chili dog. Oh, hell. Do.